Hello, Contrarians listeners. This is Julio, obviously. Here by myself to do a little intro to this sort of bonus episode we're dropping on the feed. It is Friday, May 12th, as I record this. Our Jurassic Park Dominion episode is running a little late. Had some things to take care of, so we usually try to have about 10 days in between episodes, and this one's running a little long, so we figured let's put some content out there for those of you who are not patrons, because patrons are getting stuff from us pretty constantly. But those of you who are just like living off the main feed, well, here's something to keep you satisfied, or at least mildly satisfied, until we drop Dominion sometime next week. So, reason number one for this little bonus, not so little actually, is to put something out there so that there's not this massive gap between our Long Goodbye episode and Dominion. But also because the livestream for The Cure is about a week away as I record this, and Alex and I give the full breakdown of our livestream for The Cure segment of what it'll be in the Dominion episode. And I really kind of want to give people a little bit more notice, at least a week's notice, before the actual event. So you're going to hear Alex and I go into it also during the patron pitch part of the Jurassic Park Dominion episode. But here, let me give you the shorter pitch. It's just me. So for those of you who don't know what Livestream for The Cure is, well, what have you been doing the past few years? Because this is our 5th year, I think, on it. Our friend Nick Haskins from Nikolai's Kitchen, previously Epic Film Guys. I mean, he's the guy that's been running it from the very beginning, and he basically organizes this live stream, and different podcasts come on and do a segment and raise money during the segment, and all that money goes to cancer research. The Cancer Research Institute takes it. Sometimes, depending on what time of the year it is, they match the donation. Sometimes they triple it. It's a really cool cause. It's something that's kind of personal, at least for me. I think for everybody involved. And this year, we're doing what we did last year. Let's see, the first year we did a segment on Basic Instinct 2. Second year we did Sliver. Third year we got off the Sharon Stone train and we did The Happening, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Fourth year we did something that was a little more interactive, which was we let people in the audience suggest movies, and then we would do contrarian treatments for those movies. We limited to 4 actors last year. We did Denzel Washington, Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, and Robert De Niro. And then we had tiers, because, the goal is to raise money. So if we met the first tier in donations, we committed to doing The Bone Collector on the main feed of the show. Second tier, we committed to doing Labor Day. Third tier being John Malkovich, and final tier was Goodfellas. One movie from each of the actors that we're spotlighting. So we're gonna do the same thing this year. Different actors, obviously, and that's the big reveal that apparently we saved for way too long, because now it's almost time and nobody knows. If you've been checking our Twitter account, I posted a picture that showed the 4 actors. So we're doing Antonio Banderas, Julia Roberts, Halle Berry, and Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, like the big name. I think De Niro was our biggest name last year, just because of the career and the reputation and, Goodfellas. And this year, Tom Cruise, the man behind Top Gun 2 and what was it called? Top Gun Maverick. And of course, the Mission Impossible movies. And it's Tom Cruise. So just go to the live stream, join us. If you can donate, that's great. If you can't, that's okay. Just showing up makes a big difference. Makes a big difference in the numbers, the data that runs live stream, and also just on a slightly more selfish side, it helps us, because it's really cool when you're doing something and you see that the audience is there and they're having a good time and everything. So livestreamforthecure.com, that has all the links. You need to get on Twitch. If that sounds complicated, you know what? Hit me up on Twitter @ContrarianPrime. Send me an email, contrarianprime@gmail.com. I'll walk you through it. I'll help you get it all set up. But it's pretty straightforward once you get it. The tiers, we're hoping to raise $500 this year on our segment. It would be amazing if we did it. So we split those $500 in 4. So we have 4 tiers again. First tier, if we do $125 worth of donations, we're going to do the Antonio Banderas movie Original Sin, which is rotten, 12%, I think. If we make it to the second tier, $250, we're going to do the Julia Roberts movie that gave her an Oscar, Erin Brockovich. I think it's in the mid-80s, high 80s on Rotten Tomatoes. Third tier, Halle Berry tier. This one, Alex threw me a curveball. So if we do $375, is that the right math? Well, the third tier. We're going to do the Flintstones, which I didn't know that Halle Berry was in the Flintstones, but apparently she is. And why not? The Flintstones apparently rotten in the low 20s in the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter. And then finally, if we make it to $500, and I know we can, I know we will, that's a Tom Cruise movie that unlocks Jerry Maguire for the main feed. You want us to do Jerry Maguire on the feed. It's like in the high 80s, I think. It'll be fun. But anyway, we're going to have fun. You're going to have fun. Everybody's going to have fun, and we're going to raise money while having fun. So enough of that. And now, what I guess you're here for. If you're a patron, you've already listened to these. These are our 2 episodes that we did at different times following the releases of Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Why am I picking these 2 segments to spotlight when we're so far away from Halloween or even anything Michael Myers related? Well, mainly because I think they're really good conversations. I think they're fun. If you're a fan of the franchise and what's happened with it lately, you're probably going to side with Alex. If you're not, you're just going to side with me. It's always fun when we have really solid arguments. And I think that was the case in both instances. I think they're a good listen. And for those of you who are not patrons, I think it's a good window into what our patron channel does. So we covered a lot of the Halloween movies during our Haddonfield Nights arc a couple of years ago. So if you look down our main feed, there's a lot, including the Halloween 2018, like the first part of this David Gordon Green trilogy. And so now, if you've been wondering what it was like when we talked about Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, here it is. I think it's like almost 2.5 hours worth of content. So enjoy. In between the 2 conversations, I'm going to put a Livestream for the Cure promo, and just kind of like to keep them separated. And that's it. That's all I had to say. Enjoy this. The Jurassic Park Dominion episode will be arriving on your feeds sometime soon, and that's it. I think if you can hear my cat losing her shit outside this door, I apologize. She's usually better behaved, but this was not a planned recording. Anyway, enjoy. Hello, patrons.
Evil dies tonight.
Damn you. Damn you to hell. Well, hi. Hello, patrons. Welcome to Contrarians After Hours. A very special edition of Contrarians After Hours. The After Hours you've all been waiting for, anxiously. At least those of you that were big fans of our Haddonfield Nights arc. Those of you who are Halloween fans. Because you've heard us talk about almost every movie in the franchise. So, of course, we would have to talk about this one. And if you've been reading the cues online, we are probably not in agreement, Alex and I, when it comes to Halloween Kills. So, this might end up being another Halloween H2O discussion, Alex. I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know how we start this. Okay,
first of all, let's backtrack now. So for Haddonfield Nights, we did the original, the Rob Zombie remake, the 2018, 3, the
H2O.
H2O, and then Curse of Michael Myers. Those were the 6 we did for that.
Yes.
In addition to that, we did a commentary track for Part 5, the Revenge, whatever the fuck, of Michael Myers. And in preparation for that, we watched 4. So we don't have an official 4 episode, but those are the 8 that we watched in, for posterity in terms of Contrarians. The Contrarians. So
yeah, and if you want to go even further, we did talk about the second Halloween, the second Rob Zombie Halloween, way back when we did our. But we've acknowledged it. We've talked about it. We've we've both watched it. We've both agreed that it's not good, and then we moved on. So it is part of our Halloween history.
Okay, so then that would leave. Have you seen 1981's Halloween 2? Yes,
I've seen 2.
Okay.
I watched it, I don't know, a couple of Halloweens ago. The Epic Film guys, they always do their, in October, kind of like what you do, where they just encourage everybody on their Facebook page to try to watch as many horror movies as possible during October. And people kind of comment and log them on it. And I think it was 2 years ago that I tried to keep up with them. And I watched, the whole thing is that they encourage first watches. So I was like, all right, well, I'll try to knock out as many first watches as I can. And so I did the second Halloween. That was the first time I watched Season of the Witch as well. I think the first Child's Play I watched then. But yeah, so I've seen the second one.
That would mean Resurrection's the only one that you haven't seen, and that's perfectly fine.
I want to, but I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah, just to be a completionist. So I said this in the lead-in, or whenever we brought this up earlier on the previous installment of After Hours. The first point I want to make, and this does not apply to you, is that a lot of people are Halloween experts. To quote Ben, they know fuck all about it. I loved the analogy he made of it's like someone saying, "You married that woman? Why'd you marry that woman?" It's like, fuck you. You don't know her. I know her. I want to lead with a couple things, and then I will let you air your grievances. Number one, it's Halloween. It's my favorite, but it's important to keep a few things in mind. One of them, and listeners, and if you're a patron, you know this about me. You should, or likely do already. I care so little for modern film. It just it barely does anything for me. Whenever I've gone to the movie theater over the past for pretty much the entire run of this podcast, it's discussed because it's a rarity now. I spent nearly 10 years of my life working in a movie theater, and I loved a lot of that. It did overexpose me to some things, but on a bigger, what's the word I'm looking for, soapbox, my issues with the current film market are clear and evident. That I feel like the MCU's done a lot to damage it, that going to the movie theater isn't as special as it used to be, and the things that are released on a wide scale generally do not appeal to me in many ways. So when I do go to see something in the theater, it feels like a big deal. And it usually is. Be it, a few years ago when I went and saw Dunkirk in 70 millimeter. That was awesome. How many times have I brought up Good Time? That's an example of that's an example of Halloween Kills. I found a movie that I was excited about, so much so that I was going to build time into my day or evening, what have you, to go somewhere, get in my car, and go spend money to sit in a movie theater and watch that. So all I could ask for that is it to be good. And like Good Time, and like with Halloween Kills, when it exceeds that, so much so, that's going to stick out and be important and special to me. You tack on the fact that Halloween Kills was my first time going back to the movie theater after COVID. I mean, COVID's still out there, but you know what I mean, since the pandemic began. So, 2 years, that's a big deal for me too. So it was important to me to rewatch it to make sure that it wasn't just all of that positive emotion that I was swept up in. Because when I left the theater after watching it, I was thinking to myself, well, first of all, you were the first person I texted, and what did I tell you? This is going to be extremely polarizing.
Yeah.
I said I loved it, but this movie is going to be, I think I said, possibly the most divisive in the whole franchise. But I remember thinking to myself, this is what I wanted to feel after Rise of Skywalker. And I remember being so ready for that movie to be not necessarily what I wanted it to be, but just to fill me with the emotions that I want. Good is too much to ask when it comes to Rise of Skywalker, apparently. But I remember how deflated I was leaving that movie theater, and the exact opposite is what came with this. So those are some of my disclaimers going into this. And Halloween's my favorite movie ever, the original one, that is. So there's always a lot riding on these things, but all of that swirling of emotion and for it to pay off in a positive way definitely painted my experience with it. Now, before we go into deeper feelings on it, now that that's out of the way, I'm trying to remember what I ate also, because it was delicious. That was part of it.
Did the Draft House have a special Halloween menu items?
Nah, nothing like that. But the projectionist there had a really awesome shirt I wish they had been selling. I was kind of thinking they were going to have merch because they had Mondo Stein glasses for the 2018 one. So I was hoping to get something, but not to be. It was kind of quiet. I think our theater was as full as it could be because, they leave empty chairs in between parties and stuff. So they showed the trailer for Eternals, and I audibly groaned when the Marvel logo hit the screen. And
you son of a bitch. Did you get to see Kumail Nanjiani all ripped?
All jacked, yeah.
Yeah.
We went, Reed was there, and my sister and our friend Kelly, former contributor Kelly. And I think Kelly was in the middle, and she said Reed and I both just went ugh when the Marvel thing hit the screen. And then the trailer for the new Scream, which jury's still out on that.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the one for Eternals either. So
it looks like they're trying to make a serious Scream, and it's that's not what Scream is. But hey, man, Nev Campbell's getting a paycheck, and former world heavyweight champion David Arquette. So God bless him. And Kyle Gallner of Contrarians fame from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is getting a paycheck too. So there you go.
Oh, so this is he was also in a much more serious remake. So maybe Scream 5 is
far too much so. Yes, if it's a serious one that deals with pedophilia. And shit, we can just call it the Gallner effect. All right, so Julio, I assume you watch this on Peacock, which is where I fired it up the other night too. Yeah, I guess just hit me with it. It sounds like, I don't know if you hate it. I have heard some people just say they hated it. People whose opinions I care about, I think you're the only one I haven't heard so far. As mentioned on their review on Filmbusters, Ben DM'd me. I DM'd him after seeing it, and I was just like, dude. And then he messaged me after he watched it, and we were both in agreement about it. And Ian from 616 Entertainment, his tweets about it were weird. I was like, man, I like listening to this guy talk about it. He'd not like this movie, but then he did a podcast about it, and he really liked it. But he did point out some of the negatives that I'll bring up in a minute. I keep saying I'm going to throw it over to you, Julio, and it's been 10 minutes of me talking about my experience. So I'm cracking open one to sit back and listen to what you have to say about this.
Well, I said, I don't know how we start this because I really didn't know I still don't know what the best way is. If it's you telling me why you love it, and then I go all right, well, this is why I don't. Or if it's just me telling you why I don't love it, and then you go well, you're wrong. And either way, I guess it's the end result is the same. I guess the main difference is that how long do we want to keep this conversation positive before we start, because I kind of feel like once we start delving into the things that don't work for me, there's no going back, and there's no
going back.
The levity is gone. That's putting it. I'll say this, Alex, before we even go any further. The conversation that's going to ensue here, it's your fault because because you made me watch all the Halloween movies and you made me care. If I just watch Halloween Kills on a lark without having any history, without Haddonfield Nights, without the commentary or whatever, I wouldn't care. I would have just watched this, kind of in a vacuum. I would have watched it like we watched the Doctor Who movie. It's oh, that was a fun 90 minutes. Some people got killed, and I don't know who the fuck Tommy Doyle is, but he had a bat. And so, but
Tommy
no.
Doyle's gonna fuck somebody up.
Yes. But instead, I don't hate this movie. I hate the way this movie made me feel, which is very different. I hate that I got frustrated and worked up about a movie that I wouldn't have before. So it is as if like somehow I had succeeded in making you care about the MCU enough that you would watch an MCU movie and then be annoyed because it didn't live up to your standards, but more importantly, be annoyed that those standards existed to begin with. You know what I mean? Like a year ago, I would have watched Halloween Kills, and I would have been like, I don't know, 3 stars. It was a Halloween movie, it was a horror movie. But now I'm like, I start thinking about continuity and like, how many callbacks are too many callbacks and all that stuff. Just I'm not a Halloween franchise fan to begin with, but I'm definitely not kind of like a bystander anymore. And so I'm in that position where I can't help but have an opinion about this movie. And that's probably why it's, it comes out on the negative side. But I did make a list of the things I liked, which I think that maybe that's where we can start. I think we either start with things that I liked, which are probably things that you liked as well, or we start by you telling me a little bit more if there's anything else to tell about your movie theater experience.
Oh no, that's just kind of the extent of it. But like I said, it's because of my complicated emotions with modern film mixed with my intense love of the subject matter. It was definitely an interesting recipe that paid off in like a way that you can only really hope for. I remember Reed afterwards was like, I'm not sure. He was like, but when I saw him last time, he said it's been ruminating with him and he's come around and really enjoys it.
Do you have a good crowd? I'm assuming you had a good crowd.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like the 2018 one that really gave you any moments to like cheer or. Upon multiple rewatches, that 2018 one has dropped down my rankings. Even like I was looking at my rankings now, and I might even put Rob Zombie's over that one because there's like too much shoehorned comedy in that, and some cutesy moments in it that were really fun the first time I watched it. But upon rewatch, I'm like, I really like the ending a lot. But with this, it was just kind of like chaos and terror, and I'm going to guess you didn't like that a lot of the dialogue was written like a play. I'm going to assume that's something you didn't really care for.
That's not one of my problems with it. I mean, I have problems with dialogue, but not that, I don't know, that everybody was eloquent.
I will say, this is like the only Halloween movie I've ever watched that I thought this could be a play. It really felt like a play in a lot of ways, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, they several people get monologues that go on for a while, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. Although I know that some people do. Like, fuck it. Okay, so let's get into the things I liked. I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet points. And they're all kind of like the same thing.
Is it just Judy Greer written 7 times?
Yes. Different fonts. No. This was just off the top of my head while I was at work. But so first thing is Lonnie is a surprising reference. I didn't know who Lonnie was.
Sadly, no one said, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
But not to jump too far ahead, but if it had happened, I would have been like, oh, of course they did that. Because this movie loves its callbacks. But no, I was not expecting Lonnie to show up. I was not expecting to recognize the character when she showed up. And I was definitely not expecting to be excited that I recognized Lonnie and that he was gonna be a big part of the story. So that was really cool. Like instantly when he showed up, I'm like, oh, that's right, because you had pointed out to me that in the 2018 they mentioned that he's the dad of the guy that Allison is dating. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, that's like that was awesome. I like that. Tommy Doyle as a damaged adult, loved it. I mean, that's just a perfectly valid direction to take the character. Because I've seen people that didn't like that. Yeah, he's not Paul Rudd, but he's still like a dude that has serious issues. And I have zero problems. I actually really like that there was so much Tommy Doyle, and I think that actually there wasn't enough Tommy Doyle in this movie. And then my third one is just the other returning cast members, because really, that was the main thing I think that I enjoyed was that the nurse from the first one and from H2O comes back, and then Lindsay is there also. Again, I was kind of surprised that I remembered before they even told me who she was. That little group of sort of Michael Myers survivors I really enjoyed and I really liked, and was one of my favorite aspects of the movie. Of course, a cameo from Loomis that I was not expecting. I geeked out hard when he showed up, and at first I thought it was footage from previous movies that was being repurposed. And then I realized that no, there's too much. It's fitting too well into the narrative for it to be old footage. So I'm like, so did they CGI him? Like I thought maybe they were doing like what they did with Peter Cushing or with Carrie Fisher, in the most recent Star Wars movies. And then, way after the fact, I learned that it's an actual actor. Not even an actor. I guess he's like a set designer or something, and they just put the makeup on him.
It was like a carpenter on the set, and like
and somebody
hours
else
of makeup.
did the voice.
It was freakishly good.
Yeah, I loved it because I was missing Loomis as a character in the 2018. Of course, I said it in our episode. I think that I understand. Obviously, Donald Pleasence is not with us anymore, so you can't just. I was glad that they didn't recast him, but it was a shame that in a movie that was so connected to the first Halloween, they couldn't really have one of the main characters and somebody that became such a big part of the franchise also. So when he showed up and he proved to be, it was basically a glorified cameo, but I liked that there was something to it, and that they didn't like stretch it out. It was just the right amount of Loomis, so I like that. Also, really loved that they benched Laurie. That Laurie was not really. I've seen this as an issue for some people. I mentioned in the last After Hours that I was at this sort of round table that Gerald from 2Ps organized, and about the movie, and Brad from Cinema Guys. That was one of his problems with the movie, was that it wasn't a story that focused on the Strodes really. I don't have a problem with that. I think
not one Michael Laurie confrontation.
Yeah, fine. I honestly would have preferred it if she had just been in the hospital, like in a coma the entire time. Like I said, I really enjoyed the other characters, and I thought that it was pretty. It's a bold move to say no. Laurie's just gonna be in her hospital room as she would be after the events of the last Halloween. After Halloween 2018, you don't go out and have more adventures. You need to take some rest. You need to get some rest and recover and deal with the trauma. Next, up to a point, I like Tommy rousing the community into a frenzy. As an idea, I like that. It seems like kind of a natural escalation. I'm gonna leave it there because then it gets complicated. But I like that as a germ of an idea. And finally, I like something that you brought to my attention when we did Haddonfield Nights, and it was pushed to the forefront in this movie, and that is the acknowledgement that Michael isn't going after Laurie. Mm-hmm. Michael is going home, which I don't think we knew that in the last one, but as you pointed out, and then people actually literally pointed out in this movie, he was driven to Laurie's house. It's not that he went there.
Yeah,
of his own
Sheriff
volition.
Brackett's just like, no, he's not coming for you.
Yeah. No, it's not Brackett. It's Hawkins.
Hawkins, excuse me.
Yeah. Brackett
is Charles Cipher. Like, Reed was like, holy shit, that guy's still alive.
So that's what I, things that I unabashedly like about Halloween Kills. Maybe even come close to love.
I can't help but notice that the Big John and Little John characters aren't on the list of things you enjoyed.
I mean, spoiler alert, they're also not in the list of things that I don't enjoy.
Okay.
I don't mention them at all in this little document
that.
I have. So, out of the things that I liked, do you disagree with any of that, or do you also enjoy all that stuff that I listed?
No, yeah, I'm fine with all that.
You'll accept it. You'll allow it.
I didn't like the Loomis thing at first because I thought it was CG, and I was like, that's blasphemy. But then I realized the effort they went into it, and the guy had pretty good Donald Pleasance cadence. Like, at first when he pulls up, he's like, that evil's here. You just hear that. I was like, yay, they recycled some Donald Pleasance MP3. And then he comes in and he does ask, he's like, did Michael kill again? It's like, what the fuck did you think he was going to do? You know, just come home and play Tiddlywinks or something?
Here's a big question for you as somebody who obviously liked the movie, and it could be that you don't have an answer to this, or that you don't care about the answer, but it's something that, as I was wrestling with like the reasons why I don't like this movie, this kept coming up, and it's like I'm not sure. I don't see it. I don't see clearly like what this movie is trying to say, in a way that I felt was very clear in the 2018 version. I felt that the 2018 version, for whatever problems I had with it, it had a very clear vision of what it was trying to say and do as far as trauma, and Laurie's how Laurie dealt with trauma and passed it on to her daughter and her granddaughter, and that was on one angle. And then on the other side, also just in a way, it served as a narrative that gave power back to the victim, because that third act is just three women kicking Michael Myers' ass and then driving away while he burns. So I was like, that's pretty, I could see it clearly, like the narrative and going and that final statement. I don't feel that with this movie. Like I feel it pretty muddled, and I don't know if you came away from Halloween Kills with a very clear idea of like, oh, this movie is exactly about this. What do you think?
Before I forget, a question I had, because this is something we've called out about movies before. Did you appreciate how it like picked up the second the last one left off, even like before in some cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, since you asked me about Halloween 2, that's something, and I might have mentioned it at some point in Haddonfield Nights. That's something that I like about Halloween 2, because Halloween 2 is also does the same thing, kind of, right? Because you just go directly to the hospital in the aftermath of Halloween 1's climax. And I remember thinking, I remember mostly because of, I wrote it on my Letterboxd review, that I felt that movie was really cool at the beginning, because it show you the things, that you don't usually see. And then it becomes a slasher once it just goes into the hospital and gets, it's about Michael Myers killing a bunch of people in the hospital. But yeah, and so I liked it here too. I almost feel like it had to, because of the way that the last one ended and the tone of the movie. I don't know. If it had picked up, 5 years later, it would have been a little weird. I was glad that it just really decided to keep going from where we left it.
So as it pertains to saying something, I didn't really walk away from it thinking this movie was trying to reinvent the wheel or had something big to say, because it took it back to what originally made Michael scary, in that he's just killing and you don't really know why, and you don't really know what he is. It's just a tale of someone who went mad. Like the original Halloween, what is that movie trying to say? It's just like, here's the situation and it's really scary because we don't know much about it. I appreciate that there was less said in this, almost in an effort, in my opinion, to strip away any preconceived notions you had about Michael, with any thoughts of him stalking Laurie, or this being him taking revenge on the people of Haddonfield. He's just a crazy fucker, and sometimes there's no ways to really explain that. And then in the end, the whole idea of him potentially being more than a man, like supernatural, that adds a new wrinkle into it. I think some people were confused as to what the side plot with the mob was supposed to mean, and like the bullying kind of, and the causing the other escaped mental patient's death because they were hunting him out. I kind of want to believe that would have been in the script regardless of what year it came out in. Obviously, in the current climate we're in right now, there's some things that are a bit sensitive to that, and the jokes that the Haddonfield MAGA tribe hunted him down and whatnot.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not to say in a situation exactly like that, that's not a possibility of something that could happen with the anger and just mob mentality that a lot of people have. And it just gets away from him. It goes to show, like, the whole idea of it, that you can't control an angry mob. I guess from that perspective of things they were trying to say, I didn't think it was trying to say, like, who's the real monster. But some of that dialogue towards the end was just kind of like, all right, you're getting onto a line right here with me. Let's just pull it back a little bit about, this is, I think the line is Michael's masterpiece. But at the same time, I could say that, but then it just shows to me how much they're overthinking it all. How Michael isn't, you are all doing this to yourselves. This crazy man just wants to be left alone and, paint in his home or some shit. Every time I've come up with something I don't like about it, I've been able to pretty quickly refute it with something of logic in the film. Of, like, someone said, like, the best part of Jamie Lee Curtis in this is she just is chilling, collecting a payday, and it works in the confines of the movie because she's injured and just, she's literally like, well, I'm just going to stay here until Michael comes here. So... long way about it. I don't really think this movie's trying to say much. I think it's just trying to be a scary movie and did a lot of work to go back to the roots of being scary, which I thought 2018 had some decent horror aspects to it. With this, it was better. It was just like, in no way, shape, or form is the 2018 Halloween on par with The Matrix, but, like, I was watching this and I was like, man, this is kind of like what I wanted with The Matrix Reloaded, like something good and really building upon what they tried to set up in the first portion instead of just, like, jacking off the whole time. And I did appreciate a lot of payoffs in it. It's really a quick shot and it's really heartbreaking too, but the part where, like, the mob's marching through the hospital and the woman finds her son dead on the gurney in the morgue, like, I thought that was awesome. Not Josh Gad, yeah. So I know I'm getting off track from your question here. We're trying to approach this bit by bit, but I thought this was just trying to reinstill the horror aspect into it and not so much concerning itself with any real message. I think, not to say any message you interpret from it is inconsequential or meaningless. I think you could have some probably interesting discussions with Kenny Powers and David Gordon Green about it. But from my vantage point, it was trying to be scary more than it was trying to say anything.
I agree that definitely trying to be scary, and I've the kills, I take him or leave him, that's not like my thing, but I've heard people praise the slasher horror aspect of it, and I don't disagree. I think that it's actually really well done. Where I disagree, and just, like, insert Adam Sandler gif in Uncut Gems, I experienced the movie in that aspect very differently from you, in that I thought that I felt the opposite. I don't think that it's not trying to say anything. I actually felt like it was trying to do too much. And yes, this is all subjective because I haven't talked to Kenny Powers or David Gordon Green, but once we got into the second half, I couldn't tell, because you're right, there is that moment. Poor Sheriff Brackett is just saddled with I think it's the worst line in the movie because of the specific movie that it's shaping up to be. Like, this movie, this would have been fine. This line would have been fine in a different movie, I think. But when he's kneeling over the corpse of the guy that just jumped out of the window, and he goes, I think he says,
we did this.
Yeah, he's like, he's turning us into monsters.
That's right. Like, yeah.
One of the moments where I groaned while watching this movie. Because, I mean, that's fine. If that's the story that we're telling, okay, so that's the story we're telling. Halloween Kills is going to be about how the people of Haddonfield turn out to be no better than Michael Myers in the end. They're the monsters as much as he is the monster as well. He's turned them into monsters. Okay, a little on the nose with that dialogue with Brackett, but okay, so that's what we're doing. An innocent got killed because of this. Except that then I feel like that the power from that statement is taken away. It's greatly reduced when then the people of Haddonfield end up being the victims anyway. You know what I mean? And this is not like my only problem with the movie, but I kind of like tried to take it like piece by piece here in this conversation. But they get an innocent man killed, but then they also get the upper hand on Michael, even if it's temporarily. And that kind of, it just felt weird. It felt like, yeah, we look down on them for being idiots and, causing this riot at the hospital and getting a man killed. But then we give them their badass moment where they're triumphant at least for a little bit. And when they die, you don't feel like they're dying because they're stupid or because they had it coming. You just feel like they're dying because Michael is, unbeatable. There was something there that just didn't track, and I was kind of feeling like the movie would have worked better for me if it stayed on one track, because it's not just that. It's also the fact that the movie is also a little bit about Laurie and that realization that she is not, she's in the hospital waiting for Michael and he never comes. And then Hawkins has to explain things to her. And when he does, I'm like, man, this could have been like the movie. If the movie, 2018 is about Laurie Strode dealing with the trauma and then thinking that she's gotten the upper hand on it because she beats this monster. And then Halloween Kills is about Laurie Strode, realizing that she got it wrong the entire time. She's not special and so on. And that's also an interesting movie, but it's not interesting when you're pairing it with the other stuff, at least not for me. It just felt like nothing was getting enough time. Nothing was being delved into the way I wanted it to, which I imagine would make a lot of people, maybe even you, Alex, go like, well, you're expecting too much from Halloween Kills, because this movie is a horror movie and this movie is supposed to be about the fun kills and all that stuff. But my problem is that the movie is pitched as a much smarter movie than it ends up being. Like, I expect this sort of insight from the movie because the movie has trained me to expect it. It's like it's really smart at times. I think that the things that it does when it does well, especially in the first half of the movie, when it's exploring what Tommy and Lonnie and the nurse what is exploring their trauma, it's like it's very like serious and it's taking it seriously, and then as it goes along, the second half it stops doing that. It just becomes like a standard slasher. And I don't know if you remember, but that was one of my problems with 2018, that I felt that once they got into the Strode house, it was just kind of like your standard slasher, and people that were smart are gonna act dumb now for the sake of the kills. So I felt that happened in this movie even earlier, and it was even more pronounced. Like, do you have a problem with? Well, I'm guessing you don't, but do you at least see how that happens in the movie? That the movie and the characters are like really smart and kind of like serious, and then at some point in the movie, it just becomes more of a slasher, a really well shot and really well acted slasher, but still just kind of like a slasher movie.
Well, to steal some of Ben's logic, which I agree with 100%, that is taking in slasher mythology that doesn't exist in this movie. Like, that's taking into effect, the Halloween 5, 6 level of, better not go in here, Michael Myers is in here. This is, a guy who killed whatever the total that they... So the canon is the first one. So, he killed 5 people or whatever 40 years ago, and they don't know how many people he killed on this night, so everyone still just thinks like he's a man, and everyone thinks they're just going to be able to, they got a gun, so they'll be able to kill him, Trump's America type thing. And so I don't have much of a problem with that, because I believe the naivety and the hubris of the modern white man like Lonnie. It's like, I can just go in this house where this guy's at and I'll be fine. That's I believe that in the context that it's presented in this movie. It's not Jason Lives. It's not like, Jason's in this camp, I'm going to go off on my own and, figure out what's going on. It's not that type of thing. To your question earlier, I think what my interpretation of it was that, like, he's turning us into monsters and then he just ends up killing them all in the end anyway. I think it just shows what I'm talking about, the hubris and, like, the desire for, these people to make themselves the focus of this story when it's really not them. And, you can just see how much Tommy Doyle's getting off on grabbing that baseball bat and wanting to, beat this guy's brain in, and, how much he's relishing having the crowd gather around him and everything. And just the way he talks and the way the townspeople talk and stuff, they just think they're so much more important than they actually are. And so when it comes to that and they're like, this is what he's wanting us to do, it's just they're making themselves part of the narrative when they're really not. It's just this crazy guy and you're getting in his way and fucking stop it. And they try to in the end and they're dramatically unsuccessful. So that speaks to that. And then, I understand that some of it's only nature, human nature, or an educated response that you have that this falls into more of the slasher trope. I definitely lean into that with what you're talking about in 2018, because it definitely does. It feels like that way more than this. To me, it feels like these people are just dumb and arrogant and think they're going to be able to do whatever they want. Whereas in 2018, when they get to the house, it does become just kind of this, with a little bit of a twist, the slasher hunting and whatnot. Thoughts on, we already talked about Loomis, but the flashback sequence that adds to the story of the original night. Did you have any issues or anything with that one way or the other?
No, I liked it. I liked. Did you recognize Young Hawkins?
Yeah, Thomas Mann. It really stuck out to me because I just did the QVR for Land of Steady Habits, and so
yeah.
And he was the lead in Project X, if I remember correctly.
Ooh. Very different movie.
No, I remember. That's probably why it sticks out, because it was the first time I saw him in anything. Was that? And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've seen him in. But yeah, anyway, I thought he was really good. And the mask was fucking awesome, and I did really appreciate how they made an effort to make it look different. Like I don't know if they put just like a fucking Instagram filter over that footage or whatnot, but.
Did you? I could be misremembering the first Halloween. And even like what is said on this one, in my mind, Hawkins had said that he had the opportunity to kill Michael Myers and he didn't, and that's what kind of like weighed on him, in his later years. And like I said, maybe I was misremembering, because then when the movie reveals what really happened, I'm like, okay, that's not really what happened. What happened is that he stopped Loomis from killing him. Was it Loomis or was it a cop that was going to kill him?
It was Loomis.
Yeah.
Which is also hilarious. The cops were just going to watch Loomis execute this guy in the middle of the street.
Yes. And I was like, okay, so are they just kind of like massaging the history a little bit? Because that's not really what happened. That was weird. But then also, I thought it was funny. And I mentioned this, I think, when I was in that discussion with Gerald, that I think that an even bigger secret that he has, like what really should be bothering this guy, is the fact that he killed his partner. Yes. And I don't know, it's not clear if he also told Lori that. Do you think that he told her, or because we see it as a flashback and it's kind of like cutting back and forth, I think, when they're talking, so it's like it's unclear how much he's sharing with her, at least to me. Yeah. But were you okay with Hawkins still being alive after looking like he was very much dead in the last one?
I was grateful, because as we know, the thing I disliked most about the 2018 one was that dumbass side plot with that doctor. So I was very glad that he was brought back, because what's his name? Will Patton. I do like him. And
yeah, he's great.
As far as references go, the only one that I was kind of like, was when they were in the hospital room together, and they're like talking about being at a bar when they were younger, and he's like, I knew you were always sweet on Ben Tramer. I was like, okay, because that was like the moment in the movie, where someone, I don't know if you saw a tweet I reposted the other day, it was perfect. He said, every movie now is the shot in one of those really shitty Texas Chainsaw prequels where Leatherface sees the chainsaw for the first time, and you nudge your friend and go, hey, that's the chainsaw. And that's what this felt like. It was like, you would be next to your buddy, oh, Ben Tramer, remember that? They'd say his name in the original. That was the only one I kind of was like, all right, let's move it along.
Oh, man. So you're telling me that you actually like the gotcha in this one?
I still am not entirely sure that ending is not a dream sequence of some sort, so I'm reserving judgment for it until 2023 when I see how it pays off.
When you see that Judy Greer is not in the credits.
Yeah, I mean, God, she's like one of my favorite parts about this, and she was really good in this. You're talking about when she like...
No. I found our next point of contention.
Oh, come on. You're referencing that when she like lured him down the street and
yeah. I mean, okay, independently of everything else, I just felt like by then, we were through the looking glass as far as references, because I think, is that
to be fair,
or after Brackett repeats his line from the first movie?
Yeah, I was about to say, you're telling me that's the eye roller of that and not that.
It was just goes back constant.
it goes back to my feeling on the dialogue in this. This movie felt kind of Shakespearean as far as like the screenplay with the way the words were structured. Obviously, the story is kind of Shakespearean, but it felt as much as you could in an attempt to make like a more artistic approach to a movie like this. Because the dialogue, yeah, there are scenes of like motherfuck, fuck, but some of the exchanges and the one-liners started bothering me until the end, where I realized that was like part of this universe they're creating. Like Marion with like, "This is for Dr. Loomis." I was like, what? When she said that. But then like at the end when Charles Cypher said his line and she said gotcha, and there's a couple other one-liners throughout the movie that, you know, the whole evil dies tonight thing. When they first said that, I was like, okay, that's kind of hokey. But then I realized that was kind of what they were going for. So no, for the way I interpreted it and the way I kind of absorbed the dialogue, when she said gotcha at the end, that didn't bother me. What bothered me is the idea that she potentially got killed.
Whether she's dead or alive, I don't like the idea that now that she has a catchphrase. now she's the gotcha girl. That's, you know, it was because it's one of the best moments.
Price, it went up now, so you have to pay more to get a gotcha out of it.
Oh my god, I would. Like, can you just put it on my voicemail? Gotcha. It's one of the best moments in the movie. I think it's in the previous one. It might be my favorite part of the 2018 Halloween. And here it's such a lazy callback. That's how I took it. The same way that, I mean, by then, obviously, by the time we get to this part, the movie had already lost me. I was done. I had no patience for anything. So I will concede that I was being harsher than I probably needed to be. But yeah, the brackets callback and then the gotcha and that just didn't work. I can see what you're saying, that maybe this is the way it is in the David Gordon Green Halloween verse, where people just have their lines. It's like, you know, they have I guess one-liners, you know, and catchphrases and whatever, but I don't like it as a development if that's the case. As far as Judy Greer goes, and we kind of, I think we're gonna weave in and out of what I perceive as logical problems in the movie, and you know, and you don't. But that was one of the big ones. I didn't buy a single thing she did in this movie, based on what happened in the previous movie. I didn't believe that she left her mother, who was bleeding out, so that she could go and try to rescue this mental patient that's being hunted by the mob. Like, I understand that she's a good person, and I understand that she's one of the few people that knows that guy's not Michael Myers. But based on what I understood the character to be like from the previous movie, like, there was nothing. Like, there were no breadcrumbs that I could see that would make me go like, oh, of course she would do that, because she's always doing that, because she's always, you know, trying to save the weak, trying to protect the weak and right injustices or whatever. You know, she was just like a normal mom that had been trained.
She's had a long night, man. Her husband's dead.
Exactly. She was not going to go
speak to how people are going to respond to trauma.
Well, yeah, but there are ways that are a little more believable. The thing is, it's not so much of whether I can believe it or not, but whether the movie made me believe it. And like I said, there's nothing in this. I remember when I brought it up, Brad said it like, oh, well, maybe it would have been better if the movie had focused more on the Strodes, because you would have been able to see how she walks down that path that makes her go there and whatever. But in this case, we don't really see her. She has one moment where she's with her daughter, kind of remembering the Wiz. And then I think the next thing she does is just, you know, be out and about trying to save this guy. And she is kind of like going a little further down. Then she goes out with Tommy or whatever. She is the one person, I guess, other than Jamie Lee Curtis and what's her name again? Is it Allison, the granddaughter?
Yeah, Andy Matichak.
Yeah.
Matichak.
So those three, they've experienced Halloween 2018. They are the three people that should be, like, their minds should be blown that Michael Myers is still walking around. Like, I get it. I get, you know, Halloween's 2 through Resurrection didn't happen. This is just about a man that a long time ago killed a few people, and then he escaped, and he might have killed a few more people, and the community doesn't really know. So they have no reason to really assume that there's something weird, that he's dangerous, or even that he's supernatural. But Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Allison, they shot him, they set fire on him, they beat him up. They should at least be kind of like a little puzzled that he's still walking around, let alone killing people. But they're not. Like, it takes the entire movie for Jamie Lee Curtis to go like, well, maybe we can't kill him. Maybe he's unkillable, or something to that effect. Judy Greer and her daughter, like, they're out there still trying to kill him, and they don't even acknowledge that they already did that in the last movie. Well, actually, Judy Greer says it in the hospital. She tells Jamie Lee Curtis, "Hey, we tried and we lost." Which was like, I thought that was going to lead to like a discussion where they were talking about like what happened? I thought we had him. How is he still killing? But nobody ever talks about it as like a normal person would. Like, if you or me faced off against the serial killer and we beat him up and shot him and set him on fire, and then a couple hours later we hear that he's still out there killing people, like, wouldn't you react like, I would go like, there's no way, that's not him because we killed him. Or I guess if I was in the right mood, I would be like, okay, well then he is supernatural in some sort. But the movie never goes there until the very, very end. And I think that is like, I understand why it doesn't go there. It feels at least like it doesn't want to go there until the next movie. And so it kind of has to kill time during this middle chapter with people that would conceivably still believe that Michael Myers is just a human that's killing people. But that's why I think it would have been better if they just benched the Strodes completely. Just take them out of the story so you don't even have to make me wonder about those things. Because I can understand that Tommy Doyle still thinks that's a man. And I also, the way that they pitched Tommy Doyle, I can understand that he is full of himself enough that he thinks that he can go and kill him with a bat. Everybody else, especially, they're fucking riding with Allison in the back seat. Lonnie and his son, and you're telling me that she didn't go and talk to them and be like, hey, let me list all the things that we did to this guy a few hours ago. Maybe it's not a good idea for you to go in there even if you have a gun. That kind of stuff just bothers me. Am I overthinking Halloween Kills? Maybe, but again, I just say the movie is leading me to overthink it because they are setting up something and not really following through. It's kind of like they want to have their cake and eat it. Right? They want they want a realistic take on Michael Myers, but they also want Michael Myers to be unstoppable, because if it was realistic enough, then he shouldn't be walking around in Halloween Kills. He should be in the hospital with Laurie.
He's clearly fucked up. Like, his hand, like, his hand's gone, his face is burned. Like, he's in a bad shape, man.
But still takes out like how many firemen?
That's so hilarious. When he comes onto the deck and there's like a pickaxe or something, and he does that thing like, in video games or movies, you see guys with ball bats, like, they slap the palm of their hand with it, like, all right, time to do business. Like, he does that with the pickaxe and takes all those guys out. And then he goes to that house and brutally kills that old couple with the woman from Eastbound, who was the maid at Ashley Schaefer's house in that show. Like, when I saw her, she's apparently in the 2018 one, I guess, in kind of a blink and you'll miss it role. But when I saw her, it's her. And she got it bad with that light tube in the throat. I don't know if you saw my tweet. I had to, was it Paul? Might have been Adam. Wasn't Ben. One of the film busters were saying that that's unrealistic because light tubes explode. And that's not true. If you hold it, it'll usually hold strong. Like, if I'm holding a light tube and I swing it and break it over something, it'll break at the point of contact. If you drop it or throw it, then it explodes. If you would just watch a few death matches, this shit is very easy to learn. But
thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes. That, like, when that scene happened, and then so the killing of all the firemen, and then when he kills that couple, and it's that long panning shot of her dying on the ground, and then you see him like stabbing that guy with all those different knives in the back. Like, that set the tone for the movie for me completely. I was like, all right, this is completely different, because, in the original one, Halloween, Michael makes like a nativity scene with these dead bodies. So it's not unusual for him to like decorate or take note of or admire his work. At the same time, you've never seen him just completely like desecrating a body like that in the universe we know. I mean, Rob Zombie, if he had had his way, one of the things he wanted to do was have Michael as a child sodomize his sister with a baseball bat. So
I remember you told me.
Yeah, if he had his way, that'd be different. But for me, like watching this, I was like, all right, this is way more brutal. It's teetering on the line of like insanity. So it hit a certain point where, like I said, I watched this like it was a play. Like I could see these actors on stage. And I'm not saying that necessarily eradicates your thoughts or your foibles or the things you want to punch holes in as far as the plot goes. But I just was watching this. It was like I can totally see these characters like just saying, "Hey," like I felt like in a theater watching a stage and just, he's on the loose. We got to go get him. And then the guy who's playing Michael just kind of marches across the stage, and because it felt
he
like
runs into the audience.
Yeah. It just felt the whole movie, as soon as everyone became aware that he was still alive, it was just panic, mob mentality, like Who concert, Woodstock 99 type shit of just like complete panic. So our brains are immediately shut off and we just go to our lower base level as, cavemen. And it's just me pick up stick, me violent, me have gun, that type of thing. Whereas Michael, who's not, I can't imagine he's a classically intelligent human being. I don't know how many discussions on theory or the noble lie you could have with him, but because these people get so swept up, like I was saying earlier, in their moxie and their fucking, I keep using the word hubris, but just their arrogance, their ignorance, he's able to, I guess, outsmart them just by existing.
Okay, but that's not, and I know you're saying that you don't think that this was reality, I guess. Well, where do you think, if this movie ends with a dream sequence, where do you think that dream sequence starts? Because I guess my question to you is, what do you think is happening in this movie as far as Michael? Is he a supernatural being or not? Because if you believe that he survived the mob actually killing him...
Adrenaline works wonders, man.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm kidding. Like,
okay,
at first,
thank you.
At first, I was like, all right. Like, he got hit in the face with a ball bat, and I think someone had like a golf club or something, and I was like, man, they're tuning him up. And then that guy shoots him in the chest 5 times. I was like, oh. I thought it was so awesome, just the slow escalation of it. I mean, 4, he got shot like 100 times and fell down a mine shaft, and they didn't make sure they finished the job.
I guess I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's just because I don't want to lose that point. I have zero problem with that in 4, or if I bring up this point in a movie like Halloween 4 or Halloween 5, the other ones, it's like, it's just kind of like a fun thing. It's like, haha, they're so dumb and whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is that Halloween 2018 and this Halloween, they're so much better made. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, it's the movie's fault because they're better. They're, and so
they welcome this criticism by having the gall to be good.
100% right. I mean, I'm sorry, you can't half-ass it. If you want me to take it seriously, then I'm gonna take it seriously. I can't only take it seriously when it's convenient for the plot. So the way that this movie, the last one and this one, are set up, I feel like they exist in a universe where people would wonder why Michael Myers is not dead yet and would act accordingly, and that doesn't happen in this movie.
So yeah, I am on board with you, and that's why, all jesting aside, I loved the ending, because Judy Greer shoots him like in the neck in the end of the first one. I'm trying to think, like, he could conceivably just be a big tough sumbitch and like being trapped in that fire, and you notice when they fall through, he hid himself behind that steel door, like he hid himself down there. I mean, presumably, like, just like a feral animal, thought he was going to die, but still, he hid there, kills a fireman, gets out, runs through the fireman. He's in a lot of pain. Your boy needs some Xannies, but he can conceivably live through this.
I mean, you're giving him a lot of credit.
No. Hold on. I'm saying the things that happen up until the end of Kills, he could conceivably live through. And that's why I fucking lost it when he just like, there's a wrestler named Road Warrior Hawk when he would just go beep and just like stand up from shit. And that's like what Michael did. He got stabbed in the neck by Judy Greer, and then just like after he'd been shot and beaten, and you got that shot of him like shakingly reaching for his knife, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I've got a combo stored up, and then just like stood up. Because up until that point in these movies, again, it would take a hell of a set of circumstances, but still conceivably he could have lived through the things that happened, where then at the end it just, in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the movie, took this insane turn that I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what is going to happen? I mean, I knew he wasn't going to die because there's a third one coming out, but I kind of thought it was just going to end with him laying in the street, and then, we'd pick it up in the next one and the thorn would wake him up or some shit. But so when he just like no-sold it and stood up, that's where I could see the next one starting with him laying dead in the street and then figuring out some way, because the way they do that, really melodramatic dialogue over him like standing up, waking up, and killing Anthony Michael Hall and killing Sheriff Brackett and the people in the street. I was like, this is insane. And then when he showed back up and killed Judy Greer, my first thought was like, God, I hope that's a dream sequence. As much, if not anything, just because I want Judy Greer. I want the Karen character back. But I don't know what to make of that ending, and that really excites me. I don't know what that means for the next one, and I don't know, if Judy Greer is dead, that means that Allison has lost both her dad and her mom at the hands of Michael Myers. Laurie's lost her daughter at the hands of Michael Myers. I did appreciate, and I think that the Allison character is going to be a much bigger part of Halloween Ends because she was used pretty sparingly here. Allison, Andy Matichak, very, very small moments of very good acting from her. And despite all the brutal kills and shit, I think the thing I probably winced hardest at was when she broke her leg falling down the stairs, just because the way the prosthetic they used for it. So, yes, I don't have an answer to your question if Michael Myers is supernatural or whatnot, because like I said, the ending of this threw me off so much, and it has me so excited to see what they do. I think the rumor is that the next one's supposed to pick up 4 years down the line.
Okay, I was about to ask you, but I didn't want to spoil it for you if you hadn't heard that.
Well, that's, I guess, the rumor, and it's supposed to be set in the pandemic.
Yep.
And
which, honestly, that sounds to me like David Gordon Green just trolling the press. But
yeah, exactly. I could also, people think that's what's going to happen, and then the first trailer comes out, and it's just like this, where it picks up the second this one left off type thing. Because what's he going to do for 4 years? Is he going to, the Quentin Tarantino premise for 6, where he just travels down the highway and kills people? I don't know if they're going to do that, but...
I don't think that they would fix this movie for me, but it would at least... The entire endeavor, the franchise of this trilogy, I guess, would gain some of my respect if Halloween Ends kind of opened revealing that the last, 20, 30 minutes of Halloween Kills didn't happen. Or rather that a little bit of what you were saying, if they just categorically explained that Michael died because he was human. I still find it's too much of a stretch for this type of movie, for the tone of the movie as I perceive it to be, too much of a stretch to believe that he would survive as long as he does. And he does the things that he does, through Halloween 2018 and then Halloween Kills. But let's say that in reality, Halloween Kills, that climax is really happening. The mob, led by Tommy Doyle, actually killed him good. And Halloween Ends is about Tommy Doyle being a serial killer because I'm just throwing something out there, but yeah. Tommy Doyle is the new Michael. Michael is dead, and the new Michael, in a way, the new threat are just the people who were so psychologically damaged by what happened in the last 2 movies that now they are a danger. And that's I don't think anybody would like that, in the sense that people want Michael Myers in a Halloween movie, but that's the only way that...
I can see the trailer coming out, and it explains that's the premise of it, and then I just see you in your living room, like with your arms folded and like this just proud, smug smile on your face.
I would take a selfie and send it to you. I can't imagine that happening because it has to be Michael Myers has to be in a Halloween movie. But then I would be like, okay, well, at least that explains something. I wanted this movie to commit, and it didn't commit to anything.
Disagree with you, mate.
Well, because it is such a. I mean, I think that what it boils down to in this aspect is just that the movie that you were expecting versus the movie that I was expecting based on the
to be
tone of
clear,
the
this is
movie.
nowhere near what the movie I was expecting was.
No, but I think as far as like not plot wise, but more as in like the tone and what you wanted to get out of this movie, because I was expecting a continuation of the realistic or the more grounded take on the franchise from Halloween 2018. And it even looked like I was getting that in the first, 45 minutes of this movie, with Tommy and his friends at the bar and just the way that he talks about it and the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis was bleeding out on a bed, not ready to take on any new adventures, and just the way that the community was reacting to everything, that felt like realistic. But then the movie didn't follow through, and instead, I have a really hard time believing that Michael Myers is just walking around because he's just a dude that is very resilient. It was hard enough to buy at the
Townspeople are
end of the
really
last
bad shots, man.
That is problem number one, and the problem number two is that the fact that yes, you can justify basically everything that happens in this movie by saying, well, people are stupid. And man, we've said on the show plenty of times, people are stupid. I mean, the COVID situation has proven that every time you rolled your eyes at a horror movie thinking people wouldn't do that, well, you were wrong, because plenty of people will act against their own interests and whatever. But you know what? It doesn't make for a good movie. That's the main problem. This movie, I wanted a movie where people were going to be smart about it, because that would have been more interesting than just, I don't need to see Lonnie telling the kids to stay back while he goes to confront a serial killer that's already killed a bunch of his friends on this night. Especially when he knows Tommy Doyle is somewhere around here with a big bat. He's like, but no, I have to go do it right now. And yes, I can say, well, Lonnie's an idiot and he is cocky and he doesn't really know, whatever. But that version of the story, that storytelling choice, is nowhere near as interesting as him being smarter than that. And it happens with every single one. The two kids go after him almost immediately, and then they split. It's just, come on. That nobody here really seems to take Michael Myers as seriously as they should. And so when you couple that with the fact that the movie doesn't
some of that resides in the fact that they don't really know how dangerous he really is.
But Allison does.
Yeah. I will concede one point you made is that because Laurie always says she stressed it for 40 years how dangerous he is. Mm-hmm. In the situations Allison's in, yes, she could have been a bit more could have set off a few more alarms. Like,
but
hey,
also even Lonnie, after when you get to that point, because by then they already they found how many people? 4 people killed by him in the and these were people that were armed. It was like the couple that was dressed up as a nurse and a doctor.
Dude gets stabbed through the fucking eye. It's awesome.
That was awesome. My favorite kill, I think, is when Michael kicks the door and
swings the gun around.
Swings the guns around, and she shoots herself. That was amazing.
Did you notice the silver shamrock masks this time?
I did. I mean, well, to be fair, they were in the trailer.
Blatant,
so.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was kind of haunting. I didn't really put the 2 and 2 together until the second time I watched it. It was like, oh, he murdered the other kid.
Yes.
Because in the 2018 one, he murders a kid on camera. I shouldn't have been surprised by that. Yeah, you make a couple good points. The other ones, I think I've resoundingly defeated your arguments. But
oh yeah, Haddonfield is full of idiots. There you go.
Yeah,
that explains everything.
You go visit the Midwest and come back, and yeah, that's one thing. Like, you go to fucking Dayton, Ohio, you would come back and be like, that movie makes a lot of sense now.
I think that if the thesis of your movie, if I asked you at the very beginning, what is the movie trying to say? If this movie is trying to say that people
Midwesterners are stupid.
yeah, that people are so stupid that they can't even get their shit together when there's a supernatural killer walking among them, or they can't even tell if he's supernatural dead. Like if that's the point, I wish that they'd driven the point home much more strongly, because as it is, it gets bogged down on everything else that's going on.
I do appreciate along the way with all this, though, they make a greater effort than, I think maybe only 4 would be the one that you could say tried to establish or create a sense of community in terms of like locations and people, and actually making. Because the 2018 one, you got the Karen character and the Wiz is in there and Allison and stuff, but it really still just felt like a lot of Laurie Michael stuff. With this, there's Laurie and Michael aren't even the stars of this. We'll get to who probably has the most screen time in just a second, but one of the things I really liked was the setting building, and like you really started to get an understanding of Haddonfield as a community, like I said, that doesn't really exist in any of the other movies aside from 4, and to a certain extent 5, but 5's not a good movie, so I don't really want to give it credit. So Anthony Michael Hall, for, I don't know if I texted you, I remember telling Ben this, for all the audience that was out there that said the trailers gave way too much away. They didn't give away that Anthony Michael Hall was pretty much the star of the movie. I mean, obviously we have a lot of people in this that we've already mentioned, actors and actresses. It's a pretty loaded cast, but he might have the most screen time of anybody in this. And I thought he was awesome. Like his shaved head and his whole like almost unfounded bravado and that giant chip on his shoulder, and
you think
his
he voted
sense
for Trump.
Oh God, yes. He everyone in that town did. But yeah, and the whole like flair for the dramatic, the line he had about Laura, you protected me 40 years ago, so I'll protect you tonight. In the universe this movie exists in, and the dialogue, like I already mentioned, that I felt was willingly trying to be a bit more. I use the term Shakespearean, but kind of old style, like Hollywood. Like in the days where the way movies were written was to ensure that they weren't written the way people really talk, because that's not what people wanted to see. At the same time, with the Tommy Doyle character as he's presented here, I could see that dickhead really thinking like saying something poignant like that in the moment would really like nail the moment home. So,
I actually think as I was thinking about it, that might be my favorite moment in the movie, and I bought it, because it's just made sense.
I was disappointed that after he gave his little spiel at the open mic night, he wasn't like, "All right, anyway, here's Wonderwall." And started singing. But yeah, I enjoyed him. I was more surprised the first time around than anything. I remember just thinking like halfway through the movie, I'm like, is this Tommy Doyle's movie? Like, what's going on here?
Man, I would have loved it if it just been Tommy Doyle's movie.
What if it was Paul Rudd?
Yeah, I've people have brought that up. I think Gerald might have asked it in that discussion, and I think Paul Rudd is a good actor, so he could pull it off. It would have been closer to his,
Canonically, it would have made no sense at all.
What do you mean, because of his age, or
because in this universe, Halloween 6 doesn't exist?
Oh, okay, no, but it could be just him playing a different version of Tommy Doyle.
The power of the runes stopped him.
I would have loved to see him play this kind of tortured Tommy Doyle, but I saw a bit of an interview with one of the producers. It might have been. I
know he was approached about it, and he said no, thank you.
Right, and then there was this guy that was basically saying, that they would have loved to have him, but in the end, it's kind of a good thing because he. I think what they were saying was that Paul Rudd would bring too much baggage already. You'd be distracted because it's Paul Rudd.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like with, now you just see him and it's like, oh, it's Tommy Doyle, And I can see that. I mean, it still would have been really cool to see.
Yeah, no matter what would have happened, it's something I kind of brought it up jestingly, but like because he played Tommy Doyle in another movie back when he was Paul Stephen Rudd, it was going to be brought up no matter what, and people were probably going to be like, I wonder what would happen if this was, how it was. So,
well, we're
yeah.
on the Tommy Doyle thing, though, because I do think that I wrote what this movie could have been, and I have there's 3 different things that I think would have worked so much better, at least for me or someone like me. One is just a fully fledged Tommy Doyle movie. The focus of the story is just his descent into madness. You keep Laurie in the hospital. She's not part of this movie. And Tommy just becomes a monster in his attempts to kill Michael. Ends up killing an innocent person. And then the real Michael kills him. And when Laurie hears about all this, at the very end of the movie, she realizes that Michael can't be killed. And then I wrote, this is surprisingly close to what we got. You know what I mean? This is just but if they just being able to focus it, as much as I appreciate Tommy kind of leading Haddonfield in revolt, I think that maybe it would have been more powerful, things would have been clearer if it was just, we're just following Tommy Doyle going down this rabbit hole. And it's his movie, and then it's just, Michael is a bad dude, but Tommy also becomes a bad dude by the end. It's just, the whole thing at the hospital is so over the top. I was just, that's when the movie lost me. It had me until then. And part of it is, I'm a little more understanding now than when I first watched the movie. Because when I first watched the movie, my thought was, how can anyone think that this dude is Michael Myers? Because it's just a short, overweight, bald man. And
Remember
I understand.
the guy from the 2018 one?
Yeah, no, I know who he is. I know he was in the he's one of the people that escaped.
I did for a second. I was like, what? But then I realized that
nobody knows what he looks like, I guess.
Exactly.
And they were all, and it's a mob frenzy.
A mob
I understand.
mentality.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing. If you walk into the middle of the crowd, he's got a gun. That's
yeah.
But that reaction.
But I think that it's a flaw in the filmmaking that I still had to, that I need to take those extra steps to remind myself, when it would have been I wouldn't have questioned it if the guy was just somebody that conceivably looked like Michael Myers, because I'd be like, oh yeah, then I don't even have to stop and think about it. I'm like, oh, then I can go with it. But anyway, yeah, that whole thing is just so over the top, and I think that the movie would have benefited from just going, the full Tommy Doyle way. But then if you're not gonna do that, then forget about Tommy Doyle, and instead Halloween Kills is about what we were talking about earlier, about Laurie coming to terms with the fact that Michael is not obsessed with her the way that she's obsessed with him. The movie's about her barricading herself in the hospital, expecting him to show up, and in the meantime, Michael is just going around Haddonfield killing a bunch of people as he goes to his house. And then Laurie's granddaughter, Allison, she wants to get revenge for her father's murder, so she goes after Michael and then gets herself killed, and that sets Laurie up to go after him in the 3rd movie. Now, this story would 100% need to have a moment where they acknowledge that Michael should be dead by now. But they choose to go all slasher campy with it, which would be fine. Or they treat it seriously and have Allison become basically Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle, but in a more grounded way. And she's out there. She's this young person that's all right, in the last movie, we tried to kill him with guns and fire. Didn't work. So now, I don't know, let's go contact a shaman or something. This is beyond our reality. 3rd option, fuck it. Just give me a movie set in the period between Michael being captured and Laurie becoming the recluse from 2018. And that's just a story that focuses on Officer Hawkins dealing with the guilt of having killed his partner while the Myers trial is taking place in the background. That would be amazing. You just keep Thomas Mann as your lead. It's a Halloween movie because Michael Myers is there. He's not killing anybody. He's in custody. You can call it Halloween 0 or, before Halloween or in between Halloween. I don't know. But any of those options I would have preferred, assuming that they were properly executed.
You Marvel folk and your fucking prequels.
I did not include those flashbacks in Halloween Kills. David Gordon Green did. He decided that he wanted to flesh that out for whatever reason, and I like them, but I also think that they're kind of they're there for fan service.
Oh yeah, dude, the shot where they're panning outside the Myers house, where he's just frozen in front of that line of police with Loomis behind him, and then it cuts to the title card, full mast. I was just like, yes. Even like in that moment, I was like, all right, this isn't anything like I thought it was going to be, and I was grateful for it. You know, a lot of these things you bring up could be panned out in Halloween Ends, and that's what I loved about this. Is like, it wasn't the movie I was expecting it to be. And then, like, the ending threw me for a loop so much. I have no idea what the third one's going to be. None. I'm looking forward to it, though. I know the Filmbuster boys had some theories about what it could potentially be. I know also one of the things they called out that was, like, that closing sequence, Michael's, like, walking around without his mask on, and I didn't really have a problem with it because I feel like it's done a better job of, like, not relying on that as the image. It's clearly something he needs and wants, but it's, you know, we talked at length about the mask controversy with some of the other movies in the past, and with this one, it seems like it's equally as important as it's not. It's more about the man, and I just am so fascinated and excited to see where the third one goes.
So the third one is going to be Michael without a mask.
I don't know, just trying to fit in society, wearing like Harpo glasses, and you know, just he doesn't talk still. He just kind of points at the things he wants.
That's like Michael, like it's the follow up to Curse of Michael Myers. He walks away with the, you know, dressed like a normal guy with a top hat.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck, what is? I'm trying to think now. Yes, the end of. I'm just picturing now. Halloween Ends opens and Michael Myers is like has that suit and that bad wig that Anthony Hopkins is wearing at the end of Silence of the Lambs, and he's got the sunglasses on, and he's just and he, you know, he's outside of, you know, Anderson Hardware or something, just trying to look, you know, trying to blend in. I don't know why I thought of that. It wouldn't work because he can't talk on the phone. You know, I'm stabbing an old friend for dinner tonight or something.
Actually,
like
he said Walgreens in line to get his booster shot.
Just like the opening shot is him, wearing like a Hawaiian shirt with jeans, and he's just curiously watching a kid playing in the blood pressure testing machine, like with the thing around his arm, while Christmas tunes play over the PA or something.
And
I brought it up already.
Like, Myers.
Myers, Michael, and then makes a joke about, you ever thought about changing your name? Halloween Ends.
The amount of love that would pour out of my heart for David Gordon Green, if that were to be the case, you can't imagine, Alex.
I mean, at this point now, there has to be a shot of Michael in street clothes and like a Target for the third one to live up to my expectations that we've set. I keep trying to go back to it. I do want to talk about, real quick, wrapping up here, Big John, Little John.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome little side characters, because they talk very goofy and very cutesy, but you know there's couples that are like that. It's completely unlike Tina in 5, which Tina is definitely a whipping boy for the franchise, but deservedly so. Wendy Kaplan, I think, was her name, and no, it's not her fault. It's just the way, I forget the fucking idiot that directed that movie, what his name is, but it's possible to have these characters that are going to be there, and you know they get killed, but they have an impact, and they have like, they're not just acting dumb for the sake of being dumb. And I just got a big kick out of him. That guy, you know, we were talking about Mad TV with Will Sasso earlier. What was the Little John? Michael McDonald was that actor's name from Mad TV. And then I guess I wasn't familiar with Big John, but just their back and forth, Big John, Little John, and then like for it to be so kind of cutesy to Big John getting stabbed up the fucking armpit, and then like gets his eyes gouged out in a practical effect, mind you. And back to that whole, like, playwright, you know, the almost, like, vaudevillian style of it, where Michael McDonald comes up. He's like, Michael, you came home. And, you know, then it cuts to the outside of the house. The way the guy scares him off, the Big John scares off the little kids. He stabbed his sister in the tits right up there. It was basically the sweet spot of still being able to maintain tension and have a little bit of levity without it being too much. Like, that's what I thought. Not Josh Gad in the 2018 one. That
Mm-hmm.
sequence I love so much where they're in the yard and with the motion sensing lights.
Yeah.
But his dialogue is so like, oh, I'm trying to be Jonah Hill, that it's like, okay, this is kind of killing the moment here. So,
Did you like the cameo of the, I don't remember his name, but the little kid from the last movie?
yeah, on the news broadcast
Mm-hmm.
where the couple in the bar is like, that's that little asshole kid from across the street. I thought that was funny. Great stuff. Like I said, not without some things I would point out. Very few movies are perfect to begin with, but I was saying it's now my number 3 ranked in them, with Halloween and Halloween 4 being 1 and 2. But as we just discussed in Haddonfield Nights, it's not like this series is an embarrassment of riches. There's that's something that I always get confused a lot of times in my own brain, because the first one being my favorite movie ever, I'll sometimes just associate that means that they're all good, even though I've seen them all 10 times. It's easy to forget that a lot of them are trash. And no, this is definitely one of the ones I would consider to be genuinely good. And that usually cuts off at the Rob Zombie one. So there's about 5 of them. I think I broke it down where I said 5 of them are good, 3 of them are great. That's kind of how I think I still stick by that.
And then Season of the Witch just stands on its own.
Correct. I do. Some people rank that in their Halloween rankings. I do not. I feel it's unfair because it's an awesome horror movie for what it is, but you literally cannot compare it to the others. I mean, you could try, I guess. I don't know. Michael never stole a piece of Stonehenge. And like we talked about when we did that episode, Cochrane's plan is way more vile and heinous than anything Michael Myers ever did.
Just bring him for Halloween Ends. Tie it all together.
But I did see, okay, so with all that out of the way, with it done, we'll close on this. I did see you said, or you might have texted me or you either tweeted it, that after Halloween Kills, you're going to have a hard time motivating to watch one again. Are you telling me you're not going to go see Halloween Ends with me when it comes out?
I'll go with you if you ask me, but I'm not I'm not going to go. Dude, I wasn't as excited for Halloween Kills as you were, but I was definitely interested. Like, I was ready to have a good time, and this movie let me down so hard, and it didn't give me any confidence that David Gordon Green knows what he's doing as far as the third one. Like, this movie is such a mess at the end, in my experience, that it gives me zero reassurance that it's just not going to be more of the same once Halloween Ends drops. And that's just going to irritate me. Then again, I mean, I'll probably, at this point, I'll just reset myself to my my original status when it came to the franchise. Where I'm like, well, I'll go in expecting nothing. And then I can't be disappointed if I'm not expecting anything. But I have no interest in knowing how the story ends. Unless I hear that one of those wild theories that we're throwing about, is actually taking place. If it turns out that Michael is dead, I'm like, all right, I can roll with that, because that means that I can kind of reconcile what I wanted from Halloween Kills with what we got. But I just don't see it. I wish I had the excitement that you have at not knowing what to make of the ending, but it just frustrates me because I don't feel that is I know this is me not giving David Gordon Green any credit, because I think that he definitely knows where he's going. I mean, from what I understand, it sounds like he basically wrote Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends like almost back to back. But execution-wise, as a filmmaker, it doesn't feel like it. It just feels like Halloween Kills is just like, and fuck it, and then they kill him. Except he isn't dead, and then he kills Judy Greer.
Yeah, we find out it's a dream sequence, and then Halloween Ends. Somehow, Michael Myers is back.
I mean, I cannot imagine. I don't know how you extricate yourself from the ending of Halloween Kills without, in a way that pleases me, but also in a way that pleases the fan base. And I guess that is the ultimate point and the biggest difference between the two of us, and that is that as much as I've grown to appreciate the franchise, like the high points of the franchise, as I've watched them and you've talked me through them, whatever, I think the Halloween Kills made it clear that in the end, it is not a franchise that's made with me in mind, because the people that truly love the franchise, people like you and Ben and Gerald, you like the really good stuff that works for you. It carries you over to where you get to the end of Halloween Kills, and you're like, even subconsciously, you're trusting him to make it make sense in the next one. And I don't have that experience. I get to the end of Halloween Kills, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? That's that has to come at least partially with how we experience the rest of the franchise. So, I mean, I'll go watch it with you. I would go watch any movie with you. We watched that. We watched Chuck, which is a movie that I never would have gone seen unless you hadn't brought it to my attention.
It was fine.
Yeah, I had a good time.
I think a big part of at least my modern fandom with Halloween was living through those Rob Zombie movies in real time. At this point, can't do much worse. So
I think we would, because I would hate to be the guy that's not enjoying the movie while you and Reed and Lillian and everybody, Kelly, you're all having a great time, and I'm there like my arms are crossed and I'm just walking out in the middle of a pivotal scene just to go get a refill on my soda or whatever. So it would probably be something similar to this. Well, I'm assuming that it would be available to stream right away. If not, I guess I would have to just go watch it in theaters. But
yeah, and that's one that I think everyone thought was a pretty risky call, but worked out all right. It's already made over $100 million at the box office. So, like I said in the lead-in on our previous one, and we're already an hour and a half on this fucker. So, this more so than any Halloween movie I've seen in my life, in real time, I should say, during my lifetime, felt like an event movie, because obviously we're so depleted of things right now, and I think due to the state of everything with the pandemic and still kind of easing back into movies in the theater, that this got a way bigger moment in the sun than it would have gotten under normal circumstances. I think when the 2018 one came out, it definitely came with its fanfare, and I remember the buzz was pretty good. There was a pretty exciting feeling around it, and yeah, it made $250 million at the box office, so it did its part. But with this, I think due to the simultaneous release on Peacock, with the accessibility of that, mixed with the fact that it's a big franchise that even if you haven't seen any of them, you know what it is, and just like the starved for big time event movies, and with the whole thing of it coming out around Halloween was good too. You'd be surprised, listening public, that some Halloween movies in the past have come out in August or the summertime. So the fact that it had a swelled interest and a bigger spotlight than I believe it would have had under quote unquote normal circumstances, I think definitely attributes to how many reviews it's gotten on Rotten Tomatoes, because I think it's like 38% or something.
Oh, I hadn't checked.
That's a flawed system if y'all didn't know that. But
let me hear you complain about the Eternals, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I should do. I should write a story on Halloween Kills. It's like, this is what the rating really means. So I think, again, I'm just kind of speaking to my thought on the reaction to it generally. It's been cool to have people that have never talked to me about a Halloween movie before tell me that it sucks, just because I'm like, hey, that's cool, you watched a Halloween movie. And people on social media that I know that I've known for years and that don't watch these things to comment on it. So I'm glad that it had as big of an audience as it did, and I'm glad it got to as many people as it did. This has been an interesting discussion. To those people that I know don't have any knowledge of the franchise, I'm not going to take my time to argue with them or defend my stance on it. Is the original still your favorite?
The original, no. Remember, my ranking goes...
That's right. The original's not your number one. I'm sorry. What was your number one?
2018, I think, was my number one. And I guess it remains my number one. Yeah, I think the way I had it was 2018, Halloween 4, H2O. I think those were my top
that's
three.
right. Yep, it's coming back to me now. Jesus Christ.
H2O. Love.
Yes.
I just love that, in this tangled web we weave, Ben loves Halloween Kills and also Ben loves H2O. So you can't really get mad at him.
No, I can. There's other things Ben likes that I don't agree with. And I don't get mad about it. I just, again, if I wanted to watch Halloween H2O, I would just watch Scream instead. That's always been my argument towards that.
Well, and now I know Katie and OT, their favorite is the first Rob Zombie, and then their second one, I think, is H2O.
The Rob Zombie one being the favorite to anyone doesn't make sense to me. But hey, it's not my mind to make up.
But see, if you come at it, because they were not really familiar with the franchise at all, so they experienced it as a very, I think, disjointed enterprise. And the Rob Zombie puts everything together, concentrated in like one movie.
Yeah, but you don't need to see him as a kid. It's like I didn't want to see Boba Fett as a little kid. I didn't want to see Darth Vader as a little kid. My adoration of Rob Zombie's Halloween comes more in the second act, and also the good acting that's in the first portion.
Well, patrons, you probably already have, but if just check out our Rob Zombie Halloween episode during Haddonfield Nights, because Alex and I
talk about
are
a tangled web that's woven. That's just like my relationship with that. So, okay, man, 2018 4. I respect 4, of course. I still genuinely think that's a good movie. We're on different sides of the coin here. I think we've realized through this discussion, though. I was kind of worried you were just going to say the whole thing sucked, and I was going to be like, we got way more out of this than I expected. Like,
I would be less upset if the whole thing sucked. The worst thing is that it was really good for like a solid 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe even an hour, and then, like I said, it just let me down. I was like, fuck this.
Knocked the LaCroix cans off the table. All right, patrons. Ben, I'm sure you're going to have a response to some of this stuff. Let me hear it. And our patrons, go check out the Film Busters. Their roundtable discussion about this, very good, very entertaining stuff. Loved Ben getting frustrated with them multiple times throughout that. It was very entertaining to listen to. So,
yeah, I was happy to hear that there was dissent among the ranks. I was glad that there was, that Paul seemed more, like a lot less in love with it. Kind of. I mean, I agreed with his points more than I did with anybody else's. Even though there's some things that I think that he dislikes. I don't mind. Didn't he say that it was too brutal?
Yeah.
Which I don't mind that. That's fine. That's this world. It was pretty brutal the last time around too.
It was brutal, but still in like a Hollywood type way. It wasn't like a depiction of, with the exception of that guy getting just like pinatted with the knives. Pin cushioned is the phrase I was looking for, excuse me. And the boyfriend just getting his neck battered, and then Michael just turning and breaking his neck. I kind of snickered at that because it was such a dickhead thing for him to do. Been a fun discussion, Julio.
We did it. We did it.
2 years or so until we revisit this, and yeah, we're still a duo here. No podcasts have been canceled over this discussion, so I think we're good to go. Patrons, hope you all enjoyed the discussion. Like I said, if you all have anything to add into it or weigh in on, be sure to hit us up, tweet us, write us, send us an audio clip. Do what you need to do.
Yeah. Oh well, you mentioned the Film Busters episode. I guess like I said, I was on that Gerald two-piece episode, which is available now.
Yeah.
And then the Katie and Oti from For Your Reference, they did their own. They have one episode where they just talk about the entire franchise, which was fascinating to hear because they kind of went on the journey that I went through, except that they condensed it all to one episode, and we spread mine out over several. But it was, I mean, that's just art, like how everybody perceives things their own way, and just listening to the things that I agree with on their takes, and then things that I experience a very different way, and that I know you've experienced a very different way. It's a lot of fun, and the main reason why I would watch Halloween Ends, besides, the fact that that I could talk to you about it, it's just also that I would be able to hear how all these other friends that we have that have opinions about it. I mean, I want to be in the loop when people are trashing Halloween Ends or praising Halloween Ends. I want to be able to just form an opinion, based on what I watched and just be part of the conversation. So yeah, I guess it's gonna happen.
We got 2 years. We'll figure it out. Who knows? You could rewatch this and be like, I was wrong. So,
yeah, I doubt it, but okay.
The best case scenario for me is Halloween Ends comes out and it's somehow you walk out of it and you're just like, Halloween Kills was brilliant.
That son of a bitch did it.
Yeah. Just, you son of a bitch. All right. Patrons, again, I know I mentioned y'all several times throughout this, but we can't thank you enough for continuing to support us. Like I said, let us know what you think, and we will catch you next time.
Together, we can make a difference. That's been the sign-off for everything Livestream for the Cure related ever since the event began back in 2017. Hello everyone, my name is Nick and I am the host of the Livestream for the Cure, an annual charity event to raise money for the Cancer Research Institute for immunotherapy research for a world immune to cancer. And over the past 6 years, we've made that difference together. Amazing listeners, amazing viewers, amazing podcast partners and content creators all coming together, and we've raised over $70,000. But this year, we're going to make our biggest difference to date, and we're going to raise $25,000 for the Cancer Research Institute. Tune into the event at twitch.tv/livestreamforthecure starting May 18th, as we're joined again by podcast partners and content creators from around the world to help the Cancer Research Institute crush cancer. Together, we will make a difference.
Previously on The Contrarians.
Say this, Alex, before we even go any further. The conversation that's going to ensue here, it's your fault because because you've made me watch all the Halloween movies and you made me care. Halloween Kills, but let's say that in reality, Halloween Kills, that climax is really happening. The mob led by Tommy Doyle actually killed him good. And Halloween Ends is about Tommy Doyle being a serial killer because I'm just throwing something out there, but Tommy Doyle is the new Michael. Michael is dead, and the new Michael, in a way, the new threat are just the people who were so psychologically damaged by what happened in the last two movies that now they are a danger. And that's, I don't think anybody would like that, in the sense that people want Michael Myers in a Halloween movie, but that's the only way that...
I can see the trailer coming out and it explains that's the premise of it, and then I just see you in your living room with your arms folded and this just proud smug smile on your face.
I would take a selfie and send it to you. I think we would, because I would hate to be the guy that's not enjoying the movie while you and Reed and Lillian and everybody, Kelly, you're all having a great time, and I'm there my arms are crossed and I'm just walking out in the middle of a pivotal scene just to go get a refill of my soda or whatever. Hello, patrons. Welcome to, I guess, the bonus episode for October. This very special match. It's swinging Alex Mattis versus skeptic Julio Oliveira. And the final bout to end the Halloween franchise.
All right, you fucks. This is the deal. This is
Did
great.
Did evil die tonight, Alex?
Hilariously so. And right away, if you haven't seen it yet, go to Peacock and watch it if you care to, because this is going to be very spoiler heavy.
Yeah.
Julio, my question right now is, based on the text we exchanged and your obvious dismay and dismissal of Halloween Ends, based on your 1-star review versus my 4-star review on Letterboxd. At this point in the game, are you wishing you had gone with the first option and we did Rob Zombie's Monsters for our October bonus episode?
No, come on. We all need closure.
That's fair.
This needed to happen. I think that I need to set the table as far as my side of the story, because there is more of a disconnect now between the two of us than there was with Halloween Kills. And I just want everybody listening to this to be aware of the fact that Halloween Kills made me mad. I was fully invested. Halloween 2018, listen to that episode on the main feed. I cared. And then listen to the Halloween Kills episode that we did last year. Because I cared, I was thoroughly disappointed that Halloween Kills did not do what I wanted it to do based on what I expected at the end of Halloween 2018. But I said, famously, I was like, I don't really care about the sequel at this point. I have no faith in David Gordon Green sticking the landing, because the way that what he's done with Halloween Kills doesn't fill me with confidence that whatever he wants to do next is going to work for me. And so, unlike with Halloween Kills, I went into Halloween Ends. I don't want to say that I went with zero expectations, because it wasn't that. It was more, and I wish it hadn't been the case, but it was more like a lack of interest. That is a horrible attitude to have going into a movie. The idea of like, all right, well, prove yourself to me. I like going into movies just expecting the best and just wanting to enjoy what's going to happen. But in this case, I had already lost respect for the storyteller. And so Halloween Ends was going to fight an uphill battle with me to begin with. And at least I'll tell you this, I was aware of it, and I told everybody, if Halloween Kills is what David Gordon Green wants to do with the franchise, there's a very high probability that Halloween Ends is just not going to be for me. At the same time, hilariously, on that same Halloween Kills episode, and I plan to send you the clip so you can put it at the beginning of this conversation, but when we were talking about things that I wish the sequel did, Halloween Ends, I did say that I thought it would be a better idea for them to actually kill Michael Myers at the end of Halloween Kills, and then the third movie is about Tommy Doyle becoming a serial killer, becoming the new Michael Myers because of the trauma that's been inflicted upon him by his existence in Haddonfield, which is kind of what this movie does. This movie has a character that becomes a serial killer because of, in a way, as part of a chain of events that begin with Halloween Kills, or maybe even, the first Halloween, whatever. I still didn't like it. Even when David Gordon Green kind of sort of gave me what I was asking for, it still didn't work for me. And we're going to talk about why, and we're going to talk about why you like it so much. But I guess I just wanted the disclaimer out there, which is that, in all fairness, this movie, the game was rigged. This movie was going to have a really hard time winning me back from Halloween Kills. And I can appreciate some of the things that they brought to the table. I can also point out at least one element that I just don't understand how we can't all agree that, like, there's one thing in this movie that's 100% bad, and yet I've seen people, you included, defending it. So I don't know.
What's that?
What's that is what's his name? Rohan Campbell? He sucks. With respect to that actor.
That's like, I don't your know opinion, man.
Else. I think he's terrible. I think he has zero charisma, and I think that you need it. You need that special something if you're gonna capture my interest with this type of character. But I don't know. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but it's like I don't know what what's her name? It's not Andy. Andy's her real name.
Andy Matichak.
Yeah,
Matichak.
Allison. Yeah, I don't know, but Allison sees in him, like, I understand, like, the logic of it, right? It's like, oh, well, the shared trauma, he's broken and she wants to fix him, but
she's also 22 and, not fully developed as a human being. I think she's attracted to danger in this circumstance.
Yeah, but it's not that he's not dangerous. It's not the dangerous part. It's just the part that he is a wet blanket. Like, I don't see what's interesting about him. It's like he has a tragic backstory, and I guess that's what's initially attracts him to him. But I just don't get it. I see him and I'm like, I don't know why anybody would even start a conversation with this dude. Some actors have it and some actors don't, and I just can't.
See, when you lead with that, the problem is there's really no room for any type of discussion now. It's just like, you don't like him, that's it. And obviously, if you don't like Corey, then that movie's not going to work for you.
It is a big problem. I agree. I like some things about the movie, though. And I'm open to the idea that if you like Corey, then this movie works better for you. But I still think that it's a really weird direction to take for what is the end of a trilogy. It felt more like I was watching an episode of the Haddonfield TV series where, they don't
Freddy's
feature
Nightmares.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's like you have references to Michael Myers. Maybe you'll see him in the background, but this is about the other people in Haddonfield that have their own traumas and, deal with the life to life horror of being a Haddonfield resident. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know that it's definitely not what I wanted from the story that started in 2018.
So you just want Halloween 1 is what you want.
No, I wanted something. Okay, honestly, I wanted it to end at the end of Halloween 2018, but it didn't, right? And so this movie ends in a place that I actually wanted, because you might remember way back when we did the 2018 episode.
It's so fucking awesome. Our friend Eddie was talking about it with me and the other night, and I was joking with my buddy Armadillo Dave about the end is like someone who hates slasher movies it's something they would yell at the screen.
Yep.
Just throw him in a car compactor.
Yep.
And David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are like, well, that guy, I think he's onto something over there. And it's just, it's fucking awesome.
Well, it's great, not just the visual side of it, but also that's what I've been asking from the citizens of Haddonfield for, 2 movies, 3 movies even, and specifically of Laurie. It drove me crazy that she wasn't as thorough in killing him back at the end of 2018. And so for them to finally silently acknowledge that this evil it's not even that this evil can be killed, but more that, let's be as thorough as possible here. I was surprised they didn't chop him up in 100 pieces first and then threw him in
it's so metal when his head explodes when it gets stuck in there, and then it's so fucking ridiculous. The town gathers up to, make this sacrifice. And I love the new cop who probably just moved to Haddonfield from Chicago, the big city. And he tells the sheriff, this isn't how we do it. And what he says, it is tonight.
That's cool. But how we got to that final sequence is not, I don't know. It's not how I would have wanted it to be, but you remember my issues with Halloween Kills and the.
It's too good for you.
No, just the logic of it, and there were.
You can see this coming if you go back and rewatch 18 and Kills. You see this is.
Oh, you see Ron Campbell in the background, and oh, that guy, he's gonna lead the third movie.
He's Adam Zeekman, that SNL skit. He just is in the you don't remember him, but he's back there. No, the doctor. The final shot of 2018, what is explained in Kills, Michael Myers isn't the problem. Evil changes shape. That part was the when she finishes her book and she says it changes shape. It's the chainsaw moment for me. I was like,
there's 100 chainsaws in this movie, but there have been chainsaws all throughout the David Gordon Green trilogy.
Yeah,
So-
and it's clear they get off on the homages to the franchise, because I know I already asked you didn't catch it, but the font is the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch font, much like they had the 1 and 2. You got the DJ in this, which is kind of the homage to Halloween 6, the Howard Stern guy they had. The sequence where he kills all the band students, that's framed and presented not unlike the scene in Halloween 5 when he runs down Tina and the fucking little doofus kid and Danielle. What's her? I just watched 4 earlier. What's her name? Jamie. No, Jamie. And so there's like aspects of it that all throughout. I did have one freak out when I was like ready to fucking. I thought for 1 second that they were re-invoking the Thorn, because when Michael kills, he and Corey kill together, and when like Corey puts his hand to the window, for some reason I thought like he maybe had blood on his hand or something, and I thought he was gonna like. I just had this fleeting moment of like, if they do some fucking Thorn bullshit here. Of course, at that point in the movie, that probably you would have been like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I guess I also want to make it clear, like, I'm not angry by this. None of this frustrated me in any way. Like I said, Halloween Kills did that. With this, I was just more kind of like pretty disconnected from everything that was happening. I kept hoping for the movie to kind of like bring me back with anything, but it never really did that. So I was just watching things happen on the screen and kind of like recognizing some things, and I'm like, okay, I know what you're trying to do. I see where you're going.
Were you shocked as I was when the little kid died in the beginning?
Yes, that opening is great. The opening is really good. The final, like the way that they dispatch Michael Myers at the very end is kind of cool. I like Will Patton. I think that
he's so cute.
He's just the closest to a normal person in this movie, to somebody that you can like. All right, he acts like a regular person would. I told you when I saw you a couple of nights ago, I have a hard time buying Laurie Strode in this movie. Just the big jump, the big transformation that she has off camera from
As
the
Eddie
end of Kills.
asked you, was 4 years not enough time for coping and processing for you?
There's a difference between coping and processing and becoming almost a completely different person. She's baking pie.
Brother, there's the line of exposition where Allison tells Corey that she got sober and has been in therapy for years.
Yeah,
and
too easy. That's just like the movie explaining it to me. But we all watched her in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, and this is before she even realizes that her daughter is dead.
Yeah, she didn't really do much in Halloween Kills, but I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, she was this gung ho killing machine, and then Halloween opens, and she's writing a book, and she's cleaned herself up, and now she's just a happy grandma. It was just I needed one moment of transition. I needed to see something, dude. Sometimes it could be just that I need like the extra. You can't just tell me, you need to show me. If you show me, if the first thing we see is her at like some sort of not AA meeting, but like a support group, then I understand. I was like, okay, I see that this is an ongoing thing. But when you see her in this movie, at least for a big chunk of it, it's almost like 2018 and Kills didn't happen. It was like, oh, this is Laurie Strode. She went from Carpenter's Halloween to this one. And just that her behavior, she's just there and she's like, all right, yeah, we had some scares, but it's okay. I'm gonna flirt with Will Patton now. I'm gonna tell him that I might go to Japan with him someday. And then that lady yells at her outside the mall. And I was like, the nerve. She saved your life.
That's another... there's definitely an aspect of this that nails the Midwestern, small town, everyone knows everybody thing. Because obviously everyone knows Laurie around town. And that's...
Everybody knows Corey, too.
Yeah, that's...
Well, I like that, actually.
Yeah, that scene in the bar where the mom like accosts him for being out. My aunt was killed by a drunk driver where my cousins live, like Midwest town, just like that. And I never lived there, but I was too young to really register what was happening. But I know now that it was a high school kid that did it, and like, to this day, I think that my aunt or uncle or cousins see him every once in a while around town, and that's an interesting emotion to have to go through. And that's, I think, this movie does. I mean, come on, these movies are fantastical, so I'm not at all trying to say like what it conveys is real. That's what I talked about with fucking Halloween Kills. It's just like, oh, okay, this is mythos now, which is fine with me because I enjoy it. But just what they do, and too much, Jamie Lee is a meme machine in terms of like the coping with trauma, past trauma, all that. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. I think the story of Michael is a little bit bigger than just past trauma. I think it's just a constant evil. But introducing side stories like this, where this guy's like a pariah around town, and then actually does run into the mom, and then like we find out, I guess they're separated because we see the dad later, and they both obviously have hit the bottle pretty hard in the years since. It adds something to relate to the story without, in my opinion, being too contrived or too lazy of a storytelling device. I had no idea where this was going for a good, like, the first half, probably. I honestly thought it was working backwards. Like, I thought that somehow that kid dying was like the climax, because just the shit they were doing, like the next scene, it shows him like at his job at the junkyard, and he's working on a muffler. And then in the next scene, Allison's talking about how her muffler's fucked up. So I thought it was going to be like this fucking not that, but like this backwards kind of story being told.
I thought they put timestamps on the thing, though. Don't they say like 4 years later, or they actually put like the date?
They do at the very beginning. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to the, 1 year later, it might have hit the screen. I've seen it twice now. You think I'd notice it, but I was just entranced, Julio. I couldn't
You lost
away.
yourself in Ron Campbell's beautiful eyes.
I don't get that. I have no problem with this kid. I think it's also because I've been through a lot with horror movies. I've lived through Tina and her fucking Cliff Compton boyfriend in that one. And
yeah, but they raised the bar. It's like I've said it before. It's, in a way, it's their own fault, because they set my expectations to be high.
Okay.
With 2018, it's like this kid. Well, it's one of the things where you like him and I don't, and I'd be curious to see if that is like the defining element. Like if everybody that dislikes Halloween Ends dislikes Ron Campbell, and that is like the breaking point.
Did you see one of the criticisms was there wasn't enough Michael, and I retweeted it. Someone did the screen time for like the other ones, and it's like he has more. Michael Myers has more screen time in Halloween Ends than he did in the original Halloween.
Yeah, no, that is not I would say. I mean, I can't help myself. I have to apply logic to these movies, and it's like,
well, that's a problem. But if you want to do that, I can do that too.
oh shit.
Yeah.
No, okay, so it's just, that Michael's status as a supernatural being, and like his abilities and his powers, so to speak, his stamina, his endurance, whatever, it just changes according to what the story needs it to be. I found that
it changes
frustrating.
Depending on like how much people fear him and how much power they give him.
Okay, the entire town of Haddonfield has been haunted by what he did in Halloween Kills, and yet he's like living in a sewer, like can barely stand up.
Well, also
Campbell
it's very
kicks his ass
important to
at some
call out.
point.
Okay, that's another thing that people were like all butthurt about, and I was just like, he's an old man who's dying. But like the point is, he
was an old man that was dying in Halloween Kills, and he just absolutely destroyed Tommy Doyle and his people.
That line
who were
was
not
a joke.
afraid of him. They were pretty angry, but they didn't seem afraid of him.
They were terrified of him. They needed to kill him. And the problem, they needed to do anything they could. They became monsters, as Charles Cypher said.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The sheriff did say that.
But the thing is also, it's said in dialogue in Halloween Kills, the more he kills, the more he transcends. He has to kill to continue. And like, you made the dumbass comparison to It. And it really, if you want to get down to basics, it's Freddy's plot from Freddy versus Jason. People forgot about him. People aren't scared of him anymore, so he can't kill.
Okay, but that's not what happened in Haddonfield. Nobody's forgotten about Michael Myers. Everybody talks about Michael Myers. Everyone
directs the attention to Laurie. They say it's your fault. Everyone's redirected it. That's kind of at one point I thought, oh man, is the story going to be that it's Laurie is the evil one? But
the opening of the movie is Corey freaking out because of Michael Myers, basically. The reason that he has a panic attack is because of what happened in Halloween Kills.
Who?
Corey? Yeah. When the kid locks him up in the closet in the attic or whatever. The implication is even the mom says, before she leaves with the dad, she's like,
they had the kid just fucked with him, and I took that more as he was just claustrophobic or something. But yeah, you could be right. But my point is Michael Myers is an old man. The idea of the evil and shit is it's that whole when he kills Doug. It's so fucking baller. He's like a fucking monster, coming back to life. At one point, it looks like he's embedded in the side of the concrete.
Yep.
But how he's just and then you can see the life coming back to him, killing and whatnot. And I think because it's also said, and if you pay attention, you see missing people signs, and that hobo talks about every once in a while he'll come out and take someone in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as Stretch says in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, they feed off fear. That's the whole thing with fucking Corey when he grabs him. Corey's not afraid to die, at least in that moment. He's you may have some point to your thing at the beginning of the movie, but he's just he has nothing in life anymore, and Michael's unable to do anything with him because he's not afraid to die, and that's kind of at the end too, where he bullies him, as people say, and knocks him down and steals his mask because he tells him, I'm not afraid of you. You're just an old man in a Halloween mask.
Okay,
the problem is he fucks up then because Michael's still got a few clubs in the bag to break out.
But you can see how this doesn't really feel like a direct line from 2018. 2018 was very grounded until you got to the very end. 2018
that has the doctor that's obsessed with and again, I do not like the doctor subplot, but he's obsessed with the idea of Michael and the evil so much but that he has to feel what it is.
But that's a guy that lives in the real world. That's a normal kind of disturbed. There's no there's nothing in 2018 that would tell you oh, he feeds some fear or he's he has this supernatural element that. The whole appeal, at least for me, of 2018 was that, oh, this is just a very grounded take on the Halloween mythology. He was just
he does drive in that one. That's the most realistic thing that yes. Michael does in that.
Well, he's not even and this is something that I like that is kind of a through line through all 3, and that is that the whole he's not even looking for Laurie. Because I
even at the end, the whole reason they're brought back together because he just followed his North Star. The mask is everything, and he went to get his fucking mask back, and he's like, God damn it, this bitch is here again. I got to take care of her.
Yeah, I just wish that there was more of a, I don't know. I think that the Halloween Kills did put Laurie in a very interesting position when Will Patton tells her that he wasn't coming for you, and I guess what she decides to do with that information, we never really find out. We just know that, oh, well, eventually she just got over it. But I like that the narrative in Haddonfield has become now this guy was a mental patient. His bus crashed. He started wandering off, and you, Laurie Strode, picked on him.
Mm-hmm.
And because of you, he snapped and killed a bunch of people. I like that. I like that story. I wish it wasn't muddled with all the supernatural stuff that was not there at the beginning. I feel, and that's partly on me, because that's what I was enjoying Halloween 2018, that it was just very much like, oh, this is Michael Myers as just like this old dude that escaped imprisonment and now is back to kill people. And it's kind of cool that it's, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode thinks that he's coming for her, but instead he's just kind of making his way home. And that story works for me a lot better if you don't add the supernatural stuff, which, explains my frustrations as the franchise has gone forward.
That's fine. And again, your takes on this are a little bit different. I mean, we've definitely gone. We had our Haddonfield Night series, and you've done more than your share of humoring me and going into these movies, because I know horror movies, specifically these types, aren't your bag. So when I hear you say these things, I'm like, yeah, Julio's trying to analyze this from the perspective of it being a movie and not like kind of what I take to it. I do, like, I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing all these people that are like, Halloween purists talking shit about it. It's just like,
Halloween what?
Purists, elitists, what have you.
Are you gatekeeping the Halloween franchise, Alex?
No, but just be honest in what you're saying. You don't want the franchise to try anything. You want it to be like the 2018 one. You want Michael to escape, and you want him to stalk people, and you want him to kill people. That's all you want from it. And that's fine.
Well,
that's fucking what made the original like one of the greatest movies of all time. But, it's the same people that talk about how fucking great Season of the Witch is. And Season of the Witch is great. But it's not exactly what you want it to be, so it's not good. I think what you've said so far, some of your criticisms are a bit more I can take, because just saying I don't like Corey, it's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that for you, brother. So let's move on to the next thing.
I like the idea of Corey, just to be clear, and also I know that you were talking about like the internet in general, but I don't have a problem with supernatural Michael Myers. I have a problem with supernatural Michael Myers as a follow-up to 2018, and I like 2018. The grounded approach, but that doesn't mean that I'm opposed to liking a movie where Michael is supernatural. I mean, I like Halloween 4. I like, I don't want to get into my rankings too much, but I like Halloween H2O. He's pretty supernatural in that one too.
He has like unbelievable like upper body strength, because he can just like slowly lower himself with one arm from the rafters.
Amazing. I love it. And I like that they tried something new. I wish that I had like enjoyed it. And I texted you. I was like, I think I might be able to enjoy this movie more if I just forget about the previous two movies. If I just watch it as its own thing about a horror movie where this guy lives in a town that's haunted by the memory of this serial killer, and he ends up becoming the next serial killer because of all this shit. I was like, that is actually something I can, get on board with. Of course, the performance isn't working for me, so it made it a little hard. But then also, by the end of the movie, you can't escape the fact that it's still a Halloween movie that is going to end with Laurie Strode, just leading the climax. And that only matters if it's part of, if it's the end of a trilogy, not a standalone movie. So it's complicated, but I appreciate that they were trying, something new. It's in a way, it's kind of like what I was asking for. And I don't care. It's not that I'm saying that I want everybody to just keep remaking the first Halloween over and over, but
yeah, I don't think necessarily you do, but it certainly seems like there's a lot of people that do. And so I guess I've just been kind of cutting you off and arguing with you.
I've been cutting you off too.
My take on Halloween Ends is a story of like borderline possession, but also they explicitly state it that, evil can take any form. It can change shape again, to go back to, because I did laugh at that. I was like, come on. So the narrative has changed and people blame Laurie Strode now. So there's not the same like I mean, to be fair, all the people that really feared Michael Myers and wanted to make sure they stopped him from ever getting out are all dead now. So it's like a new generation of townspeople that think it's funny and kind of blame Laurie Strode for everything that's happened. And this fucking kid comes along. How does he end up in the sewer in the first place? Oh, because the fucking band kids bully him and throw him over the edge. And he goes in there and he senses it, and he gets a taste of the evil, and he likes it. The evil. And it's basically, he's like infected at that point.
He's like Bella drinking blood for the first time. He's like, I like it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Jeffrey Dahmer or Evan Peters eating a spleen for the first time on that show. Just being like... So in a sense, he becomes possessed, but, you know, Michael is still, the more he kills, the more he transcends evil. It's not like it leaves him and comes on to him. And it's a matter of like, the fear's not there. He's not killing regularly. He's just a weakened, beaten down old man. He gets that first kill back. He starts to get the power back, but he's still not very strong. And then, you know, fucking the difference is in the evil is that Corey just goes insane and thinks that he can be Michael Myers now. And that's where you done fucked up, kid. And he took Michael down, and, you know, I referred to it as his North Star. He took his mask. So he know that's like, what's an example of something that's like a symbol of power that draws someone into it? It's like the sun for him. It's his universe. And I think it's just a thing of like, evil can be anywhere. It can be anything. You have to fear it for it to really have power. And Laurie, through all the years, gave Michael so much of his power. I do like that they're incidentally just brought together again at the end. And, you know, he kills Corey, and then he's got like the taste back, and he's like, well, I need to find someone else and fucking kill him. And he's just not strong enough. Laurie basically fucking crucifies him. I did like yell when she stabbed him in the heart and he sat up. I was like, holy shit. And, you know, the way she incapacitates him is just so simplistic. Just slowly runs the knife across his throat. And it's, oh, dude, it was so fucking brutal how she ran it across his wrist like that. Very uncomfortably realistic in a sense. That shot, not the scenario that played out in the film. And she even gives him the chance to kill her, and he can't do it. He's just a spent force.
Well, the only reason he doesn't do it is because Allison walks in.
Yeah, but like he has the opportunity. We've seen Michael do things a lot quicker. And I mean, there was enough time to play like a fucking recap video package of everything that's happened up until this point. So, but his fucking hand is split in half. It's like, yeah, it's not for everybody. That scene where they kill together is fucking awesome. They kill the doctor and his side piece. Because, again, I just didn't really know what was going on. And he's locked out, and then Michael reappears. And it's just, I can't tell someone that doesn't like it that you're wrong, because it's a movie that I watched. I was like, well, this is going to be divisive. But, like, I was just, like, pumping my fists throughout, like, all of it. Like, when it was over, I was just, like, fired up. Like, it was one of those things I couldn't sleep. I was just so excited and how fucking great it was. I was laughing at the whole trailer gave too much away crowd. I was like, oh, yeah, how'd that work out for you? Because people were like, gave away the whole plot. And that's, I just, at this point, it becomes, what do you want? Like, fuck, I don't even know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You know, we're deep into this franchise at this point. There should be something you can point to and you can say, this is how I like it. And if it's just what Halloween is, then that's fine.
Now, there will be some pointing done by the time we wrap up this conversation.
It's not exclusive to horror. It's not exclusive to Halloween. Anytime you fuck with the formula, it's going to piss people off. Anytime you play it too safe, it's going to piss people off. So it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It is a thankless role, man, being appointed any of the big slasher movies anymore. Especially the problem is on this big of a platform. No one really gave a shit about that Texas Chainsaw movie that came out this year because it was just some bullshit direct to Netflix. This is like, these have been event movies in the time they've come out, you know, specifically Kills because it was like, oh, back to the movie theater. But the first one, you know, the Universal was all in on these. You got some heavy hitters from the acting world in these. From a promotional standpoint, I think the only one that holds up to what these got was H2O. So these were like the biggins. And I get that turns people off, man. It's just, there's a lot of people that I would just be like, well, what is it you want? Like, what do you want from your Halloween movie? Because then it's easier to kind of isolate and say, okay, well, you just like this. You don't like this.
I like just because you've asked the question. I think that what I like is definitely the more realistic approach, because I like the first half of Halloween Kills a lot. Just everything that deals with the survivors and just Tommy Doyle giving his speech at that bar. Like, all that stuff is, I really like. And I like, what Halloween Kills or the Halloween 2018 did with just the idea of, this guy that escapes and is not up to a point, is very, it's a very down to earth way of telling the story without skimping on it being grotesque and gruesome and all that stuff. And I can enjoy the other stuff, but I guess ultimately what I want, I'll tell you what I want, Alex. What I want is consistency. I want, and maybe this is something that we can agree on. You like the finished product, I don't, but I think it's very clear. I think it's noticeable that when they made Halloween 2018, they didn't know what they were going to. They didn't even know probably that they were going to have to make 2 more movies. They didn't. Halloween 2018 is not a movie that was made thinking, all right, this is step 1 in the journey that takes us all the way to Halloween Ends. I guess it could have been announced as a trilogy. That's fine, but it just feels really weird that this is that he wouldn't do a better job of setting up what the end game is going to be, like of really weaving it a little more into like all these themes of like, he feeds on fear and, Haddonfield is a horrible town. I like that. That's I didn't finish my thought earlier. Like, I love that Haddonfield is, by this third movie, we're just like, it's so it's depicted as such a terrible place full of terrible people, just with no empathy whatsoever. I like that. I totally get that Allison was like, I want to get the hell out of here, and
Dude,
Corey wants to leave too.
I audibly laughed in the theater. I saw this in IMAX, by the way, and it was cool. Sound was fucking awesome. The sign that said "Now leaving Haddonfield." I how I am about practical sets and shit like that. So the fact that someone made that, makes me so happy. That's what movies are supposed to be, and I laughed hard at that. And that's part of the thing too, that like our heroine is not infallible. It's idiotic that she still wants to stay there. She says in like her opening monologue that like, I'm trying to prove a point by staying here and making a life for myself. It's like, nah, man. You should probably just like fucking move to Washington or get away from the Midwest.
Go to Texas. Nothing bad ever happens in Texas.
Then the guy with the chainsaw will chase you around. It's no good.
I just feel like 2018 is painted more as the story of Laurie. And then by the time we get to Halloween Ends, it's become the story of Haddonfield. And I don't have a problem with it being the story of Haddonfield. In fact, I mean, I think that's
the story of fear and evil, not just Haddonfield.
But, in Haddonfield, that's the reason I care is because it's happening in Haddonfield. And, it's the people of Haddonfield carrying this dude to that machine that destroys him.
I will tell you that I rewatched 2018 after I watched Ends, and there are things that I could buy into as like setting the groundwork for where we end up. Obviously, there was no way of knowing that at the time of watching, and also it could just be my brain playing tricks on me now watching it back, but I feel there's some shit in those first 2 movies that... Dude,
even the fact that Will Patton's still alive. I love the guy, I love the character. He's dead in Halloween 2018. that is a kill shot. Like that the way that it's shot and everything.
Yeah. He's the guy, the doc that has this fucking like pen knife.
Yeah.
Get over here. Man, Lindsay Wallace could get it. Kyle Richards. I forgot that she's like a semi-accomplished actress. She was a child actor, obviously, because she was in fucking Halloween. But she's one of those fucking Real Housewives women. She's like on that show. Yeah.
I think I've
She's
heard
got like
that before.
Reality TV show following. I mean her specifically in that Lindsay Wallace role in this, where she's like the, middle-aged bartender that's got, so clearly some emotional baggage, but just looks like, man, she good to go. When they showed her as the bartender, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. And Allison, this movie's filled with attractive people. I want Andy Matichak, I hope, because I feel there's a lot of potential with her as an actress, and I hope she doesn't get stuck in the role. I saw that she has another movie that's fairly recent on Shudder. That's a Shudder original. I feel as though there's some real potential there that I don't want her to get pigeonholed in the horror genre. Who knows? Maybe, the evil's dead, but the acting career has been passed on from Jamie Lee to Andy Matichak. Jamie Lee's good for what she does in this. The Laurie character is really interesting, and
this is almost definitely the last time we're gonna see her play the character.
Yeah, that clip I saw, I told you, where they called rap on the film, and she like just started crying. Yeah, my understanding is from this is like the end of the canon of Michael, but we'll see something else. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a show like you were kind of talking about earlier, or something like a streaming series. But she said she's done. I doubt she needs the money. I'm glad there was some finality to it, because there's H2O and Resurrection in there that fuck with her story, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. The chemistry she has with Will Patton, I thought was really good.
So were you happy that we got a happy ending at the end?
Yes.
Happy ending at the end.
Yes. Yes.
That's what you wanted. You wanted a happy ending. Like if it had been a bummer of an ending, you wouldn't have been satisfied.
See, here's what people get mad about me saying this. Like, the Halloween purists or the people who didn't like it. I wanted something that didn't do wrong by the characters. I wanted finality, and I wanted a happy ending. And I wanted that in the universe of Halloween. I don't feel any of the characters were betrayed. People are so fucking hung up on Michael getting knocked down by this kid. When he found the kid, he broke his neck. I mean, obviously that kid had already stabbed himself, but like Michael's just like, oh, it's you again. Michael was there. He stalked. He stabbed. He slashed. He broke necks. Laurie was there. Even though, it's a little bit different. She's not like on the run and constantly paranoid. I thought that suicide scene was going to be legit, because the way it was played up, and it kind of built to that, because, they had that big dramatic moment with Allison and whatnot. As soon as it was like happening, okay, well, this can't be it. But like for a second, when she walked up with the bottle of liquor, I was like, holy shit. Laurie gets the better of Michael finally. She's just figured him out. If I don't give you this, you can't your supernatural power only goes so far if I don't feed it. And sliced him up. They threw him in a fucking car compactor. They killed him. And then the closing sequence is fucking perfect. I am not trying to be hyperbolic. It's like one of the best closing moments I've seen in a long ass time in a movie, from Will Patton and Laurie sitting there in silence, just kind of reflecting. It's a nice day with the leaves falling. And then it's the fucking end of the first one, but it's the inverse, because it's the night is gone. The evil's been conquered. It's a beautiful day inside the house. And that fucking shot of her office with Michael's mask on the desk, just laying there on its side, like half deflated. I was just like, oh my God. And then they kicked into fucking Don't Fear the Reaper. I was just like, this is amazing. Like I literally like yelled yes when that happened.
So if Michael had killed her, like at that final confrontation where like they both basically die.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be like, my thought going in was going to be some situation where they both have to die. My thought was it was going to be revealed it was more of like they're tied together through some fucking weird, cosmic balance, and that in order to eliminate his evil, she has to go with him. I even had a fleeting thought of like, is she going to jump in the compactor with him? What's going on here? But no, it's him. I mean, he was a problem. The idea of fear and evil is a bigger problem, but this fucking dude was bad news, so we got to get rid of him to begin with. I think you were going to ask if she died too, if it would have hurt the ending for me. Is that what you're going to ask?
Yeah, I was going to say, if would that, because you wanted a happy ending, and what if she has to die? That's Lori being alive is a requisite of the happy ending.
Well, now that's all I know, and I thought it was fucking perfect. So I guess the answer to your question is yes. I wouldn't know otherwise. It's
she dies, but then Allison goes on and starts dating Will Patton.
No, there we go, and then we get like the.
She has a thing for law enforcement. I mean, she was dating another cop.
Dude, that was a perfect touch too, where she dated that cop that was clearly like 15 years older than. That's classic Midwest bullshit. No, Will Patton and Andy Matichak. That would be like the follow up where they're like they fall in love. That would definitely be like a Noah Baumbach affair. Enter it into some festivals around the world. And then Don't Fear the Reaper for you, Julio. There's a scene in the original Halloween where Annie and Laurie are driving around smoking weed, and Don't Fear the Reaper's playing on the radio. That movie had such a low budget that it's been joked about why did they shell out the money for Blue Oyster Cult to feature that song, and the lyrics of it play into exactly my interpretation and reading of the movie. And then it cuts to the Halloween ends, and then it lingers on the word ends. I was just like, that's fucking money. That's the whole thing. That movie could have been dog shit, but that ending was so good that I would have just been like, cool. And as I said in my Letterboxd review, and it's very important to stress here, this won't happen again. I'm too old now to develop new interests. And aside from professional wrestling, man, there's not been like a franchise or a form of entertainment, a specific canon of television or film or anything like that that's been as important to me as Halloween. Maybe The Simpsons, but the point is I gave up on The Simpsons a long time ago. I still like believed in Halloween, and it meant so much to me, and it still does. I had that with Star Wars also. That was very important to me, and you only have one chance to end it. And much like Halloween with Star Wars, I knew Rise of Skywalker wasn't going to be the end. I knew we're still going to have offshoots. There's going to be shows. There's going to be, one-off movies and shit like that. But this is the end of my story. This is the end of what has meant so much to me for my entire life. You only have one shot to do that. And leaving the theater for Rise of Skywalker was one of the strangest feelings I've ever had leaving a movie. We've talked about it and we've joked about it plenty. And I do realize it sounds so fucking dorky and nerdy or whatever fucking negative adjective you want to throw my way. But it was just like, what the fuck, man? I can't have that back. I would have rather have just not seen it. That like hurt me. And with this, it was the exact opposite. I was just like so happy and fulfilled when this was over. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch. In fact, we'll get to where it stands, but the way it ended just made me so fucking happy and gave me like a piece that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I think that experience with Rise of Skywalker definitely heightened my emotions for this. So that's going to be like the thing moving forward that I'll tell people is like, yeah, you're entitled to believe what you want. If we want to talk about this, we can. But I'm telling you right now that this really meant a lot to me because of the way it wrapped things up, because of other experiences I had with movies and shit along the way. So does that make sense what I'm saying? That it like heightened how I felt about it?
Yeah. But also, I mean, I think if you take all that, I guess in part also because of all that, I mean, this movie was always going to have, I guess it was the reaction is always going to be more extreme on your end. There was no way that you were ever going to be
imagine if it was
indifferent
bad? Yeah, that's true. I can't imagine if they had like botched it, like something of like Michael kills Laurie and Allison and just stands tall or some shit like that. That's very valid. My reaction either way was always going to be big.
They just redo Resurrection, and she forgives him and kisses him.
Jesus.
Michael, you are loved.
Shout out Danny McBride getting his people work. As I mentioned, the lady who gets stabbed in the neck with the fucking light tube in the Halloween Kills was she played the housekeeper for Ashley Schaefer in Eastbound and Down. The gentleman who plays the butcher and works behind the counter at the deli market there was one of the businessmen that Ashley Schaefer deals with in Eastbound and Down. It's such a great scene because he ends up. Did you watch all of Eastbound?
Not season 4.
Okay, so you remember season 3 when he has the dinner and he makes that guy like run away from the cannonball fire? Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, Ashley Schaefer has his dinner with like his Korean business partners, and this big fella, the guy who plays the butchers in that, and Ashley says, Mammy told me about your tomfoolery in the tool shed. And then he, like, his punishment is he has this guy, like, try to evade cannonball fire. God, that show was fucking incredible. But I just kind of, I popped for the idea of Danny McBride just being like, hey, let's get our boys some work. Never a good sign when the movie starts and there's 4 writers credited. That was, like, my first, like, oh, no. What's going to happen here?
Not a whole lot of Danny McBride humor in this one.
No. You know, your thing with Corey doesn't work for you. That's a fundamental thing that there's really nothing I can do to try to counteract that or argue with you about it.
I think if you had I mean, I said it earlier, but I guess now that we're towards the end of our arguments, like I guess I reiterate it. Yeah, if you had an actor that worked better for me, I think that I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more. But I think I would have arrived to the end and gone, that was a really weird direction to take based on what 2018 set up. The things that happen regardless of the performance. The performance just affects how I enjoy it or not. Yeah, it's not in my top tier Halloween movies, but I am glad that it is for you, that you got the ending you wanted, perhaps even the ending you deserved, Alex.
I appreciate that because you do know how much they mean to me. And I know you know that, so you saying that means a lot. To, I guess, go back and correct what I'd said earlier to make sure we're all aligned. In June 2018, Danny McBride confirmed that he and David Gordon Green had originally intended to pitch 2 films that would be shot back-to-back and then later decided against it, waiting to see the reaction to the first film. September 2018, producer Jason Blum said that we'll do a sequel if this movie performs. Obviously, it did fucking bank. A month later, after the new film's opening weekend, McBride confirmed that early development on a sequel had begun as soon as Halloween was released in theaters. McBride and Green started devising the story for the 2 sequels alongside the other writers, Chris Bernier and Paul Brad Logan, who assisted them in writing simultaneously both sequels. So Kills and Ends were crafted together in the wake of the success of the first one. So there you go. Oh, also, to all the people mad that the band kids like are dickheads and bully Corey, I think they ended up getting theirs in the end. And I think that was kind of part of it to build up to it. Yeah, like I said, my dad shockingly really enjoyed it. He said he enjoyed the part that some of the people that got killed, like they established why they were shit people, so he didn't really feel bad for them. I think that was, he was able to kind of disassociate from it a little bit.
Has he seen the other 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He was, like a lot of people, a little bit confused when Halloween Kills ended. It's like, well, what happened there? So that brings us to our closing. Again, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. Julio went with 1. That would translate for me for like an A-, I think. Right on the line between A- and B+. So let's do it. It's time to give the definitive contrarian rankings for the Halloween film franchise. Now, Julio, disclaimer on my end, I do not include Season of the Witch. Season of the Witch is a fucking awesome movie. But
as discussed in the Contrarians.
Correct. The problem is we're talking about Michael Myers here, and obviously it has nothing to do with it. So I always omit that from my rankings. Julio, will there be any that you will be omitting from yours?
Well, I still haven't seen Resurrection. Streaming services keep teasing me, showing me that it's there for free, and then when I'm finally ready to watch it, it's gone. And I'm not going to pay for it, so maybe next Halloween.
One of these days.
Yeah, but so Resurrection is not on my list. I put Season of the Witch on my list just because, I don't know, it's part of
works.
It's part of the ride.
That way we'll both have the same amount of entries.
There you go.
All right. Is there any mystery to number one? Like your top, do you want to go from the top to bottom or bottom to top? How
do you want to do it, Alex?
Is the original in your number one spot?
No, you know it isn't. You do know that. We did some sort of ranking at the end of Haddonfield Nights.
Yeah, I thought you had wised up since then. We'll just in that case we'll just count down. So what's dead last for you? My last place is obviously Halloween Resurrection. What comes in dead last for you?
It's a tie. It's the only tie I have. It's kind of like hard to explain. It isn't, but I guess it merits explanation because I have Halloween 5 and Halloween Ends all the way at the end, and that is because Halloween 5 is a bad movie, and Halloween Ends is the most checked out I've been while watching these movies. Even, the other questionable entries, I was still, following the story. I had some sort of investment. Halloween Ends, I was checked out, and part of it is Halloween Kills, so I already explained it. Sorry.
That's offensive. You got fucking Tina in the same category as Halloween Ends. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but it was so entertaining to watch. And maybe it's just because I watch it with you and Reed, and I have that memory, making things better.
It does have Donald Pleasance saying, "Cookie Woman." All right, so Resurrection. Next for me, counting down, would be Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Hey, me too.
Excellent. Next for me is H2O.
Come on, man. Halloween Kills for me.
Okay. Next is Halloween 5 for me.
Halloween 6. The only cut I've seen, which is the producers, right? This is the one we did on the show. Yeah.
Introducing Paul Stephen Rudd. That's
right.
All right, so then 6 on deck. Halloween 6, Halloween 666, Halloween the Curse of Michael Myers, whatever name you subscribe to. That's so we've knocked out, at this point, like all of the lower tier entries, or I have. You've already butchered this list.
Yes.
So what's next for you?
Next for me is Halloween 2.
This was like the hardest back and forth I had about these. My next one is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, I know you have a very complicated relationship with that movie.
Well, and the thing is, I just rewatched the Halloween 2 recently, the 81 Halloween 2, and it's good, man. It's very like overly formulaic, but there's some really good shots in it, and like the closing sequence fucking rules. So I gave that and it also doesn't have the rampant misogyny that Rob Zombie's Halloween has, so I put that over it.
It so also doesn't have doesn't have Malcolm McDowell.
That's very true. So is your next one Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Oh no.
Oh, that snuck its way up the list. What's next for you?
Next one is the original Halloween.
Oh my God. Jesus.
You're like, you just wanted to remake Halloween. No. Halloween is okay. It's an okay movie.
All right, so my final 4, this is where I have Halloween Ends comes into play.
Okay. I mean, I have like that extra spot because next is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch for me. Okay. And then I have 4 left.
Halloween Ends. Halloween Kills is in 3rd place for me.
So you like Kills better than Ends.
I do. It took some soul searching, but I do.
Why is that?
I haven't been able to quantify it yet. I just think there's things about both of them that I could do without, but at the same time, Kills just so like rattled me and wrapped me up in a blanket and was like, you know not of this world, young man. But it held my hand and told me everything was going to be okay. The side plot, I still say it comes in fucking third place for me in my Halloween rankings, but the other mental patient, that whole sequence is, upon rewatch, it's just kind of like, I wish this wasn't in the movie, but you do get some good acting from Judy Greer because of it.
You get all the memes.
You do get all the memes, and it also helps the story that they're trying to tell. And Charles Cypher gets to say, he's turning us into monsters.
He also gets to say evil dies tonight.
He does. A huge part of why it beats out Ends is the continuation of the end of the first Halloween. Like the way the beginning of that movie picks up where it left off. That fucking rules. So Ends and then Kills. Kills comes in third place. I have no idea what you're doing over there.
If Ends had incorporated COVID, as we once theorized.
Oh, yeah.
Would it maybe that would have put it over Halloween Kills for you? Relevance. I wanted Lori to reference the pandemic on her book. Well, let me catch up to you because somehow, for some reason, my next one is my number 4. So let me give you my number 4 is Halloween 4, and then my number 3 is Halloween 0, also known as Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Man, that's something.
I mean, this is. We talked about.
I know.
This.
Yeah, I was about to say I know how I fucked up because I didn't yet include 2018. That would go, and we'll do a recap here, listeners, of just running down real quickly. But Halloween 2018 would be, yeah, I think it would be below Rob Zombie's first Halloween.
Oh man, that's like way down the list.
It's good. It's good, and the point is I fucking love these movies I'm talking about. That's your number 3. Is your number 2 the 2018 Halloween?
No, my number 2 is Halloween H2O.
Oh man, I didn't realize the 2018 one was that good because I thought last time we convened on this, H2O took your top spot.
No,
like a psychopath.
I think I had 2018 Halloween 4, then H2O last time we did this, and there's, I guess, I've grown to appreciate what Rob Zombie does well, and kind of it helps me.
My man,
it helps me get past all the things he does poorly in his Halloween movie, and but we disagree. You and I, because you like the second half more, and I like the first half more, and I like Loomis trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this kid, and you like this grown man killing people in the second half.
Intensely. It's Rob Zombie, man. That review I read of the Munsters is he makes movies literally only for himself, and in the end, there's something admirable about that.
So what's your top 3?
My top 3 is number 1 obviously is original, number 2 is 4, and then number 3 is Kills. So in recap for myself, original Halloween, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, Halloween 2 from 1981. I'm going to flip-flop. And then on 6, we're going to do Halloween 2018, and then Halloween 0, as you call it, Rob Zombie's Halloween. And then we go into The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6, Halloween 5, Halloween H2O, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, man. Your dislike of H2O, I understand it, but I don't share it at all, obviously.
The director, Steve Miner, made better horror movies, specifically Friday the 13th, Part 2 and 3. So, there you go.
There you go. On my end, number 1, my top 3. Halloween 2018, Halloween H2O, and Halloween 0. Closely followed by Halloween 4. I included Halloween 3 Season of the Witch right there. Then the original Halloween, which is okay. followed by its immediate sequel, Halloween 2.
That seemed unnecessary. That little stray you threw in there.
Halloween 2 is next. And then we go into movies that I don't think are that great. Although Halloween 6 is just like that perfect combination of like, it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also really entertaining to watch.
Dude, we had fun with that one.
Yeah.
Because of just like the absurdity of it. And, Paul Rudd takes it a long way, to be fair.
Yep. Halloween Kills is next. Love the first half, or at least really like the first half. All the Tommy Doyle stuff. Then Halloween 02, which honestly, I could have told you that this was really dead last. Here's a problem. In order for me to solidify how I feel about Halloween 02, I will have to watch it again, and I don't want to do that.
Having rewatched it recently to confirm my thoughts on it, I can confirm it is not a pleasant experience and is not good.
Yeah, I just don't want to put myself through it again, but I watched it in a movie theater where I couldn't like escape, and I just got myself through it. I like the idea of, a movie that is devoted to exploring how fucked up Laurie is after what happened in the first Halloween, which I guess is kind of like what I like of in H2O in 2018 as well. But this one, it does it the Rob Zombie way, and it's not pleasant to watch at all, and it goes to some really weird places. So, but still, it is, I guess, commendable because I get what it's trying to do, and it is consistent with what Rob Zombie was doing, I guess. And then at the end, the tie, Halloween 5 and Halloween Ends. Not for me, dog.
I mean, obviously, based on this conversation.
Obviously not for me. The
mood I'm in after hearing your list, I wish we had done the Munsters.
Replace Ron Campbell in Halloween Ends with somebody else, and that movie would probably at least get above Halloween Kills.
Josh Gad?
Why not? I feel like I get why Allison is into him. He can sing.
Man, that list is something.
Let me have it, listeners. Let me have it.
You are accurate, though, in like, there's a couple of these, obviously, are opinions differ on, but there is like a huge divide in this franchise of like the ones you consider to be good and then like just the ass trash that comes out. Halloween Resurrection is like a movie that I hope people lost their jobs over. That's like in the fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine category of like, why? How? And it didn't even make that much money. I mean, I would like $37 million, but when you compare it to some of the other entries,
it's no Halloween money.
Hey, man, the king, the god, John Carpenter. Every time one of these comes out, he gets paid. As he said immortally, a great thing happens every time a Halloween movie comes out. A big check falls in my hand. So, slay, king. You are the reason we are here. Yeah, a bit deflated by your thoughts on the latest entry, Julio, but
I'm sorry.
Trust me, this conversation over the past hour has been, it's a lot easier for me to appreciate your prerogative and your point of view versus just, I'm mad. This isn't the Michael I wanted.
No, I'm not mad. I'm not even disappointed. Honestly, I am relieved. That's what I am. Not about the movie, but about this recording, because I had this fear that I had been so disengaged with the movie that I wasn't going to be able to bring up anything to this conversation. I was going to come in and be like, I don't care, man.
Oh, dude, in my brain, I understand what I think this movie is and what happens. I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to try to explain it. So when I was like, it's just one of those things in my head. I was like, yeah, I understand this. This is exactly what it means. And then it's like, well, explain it to me. I'm like, it's like the Matrix kind of like, I know what it means and I understand this movie, how it works. And then someone's like, explain it. Well, I don't see, there's two sides. There's this Lori gal, right?
So it's Halloween night.
It is. I do also think that my Halloween Kills love and placement of it over Ends, upon recent rewatch, Big John and Little John are some of the best side characters ever in a slasher movie. They fucking rule. The victims, the endless amount of victims in the franchise and other, your Fridays and your Nightmares and whatnot. Those guys are obviously both seasoned actors, but like just their whole dynamic and the way they pull off the scenes they're in, I was like, these guys are iconic. These are, usually the side characters in slasher movies you remember for how fucking bad they are, like Freebird and Freddy vs. Jason, or Shelley and Friday Part 3. And so I guess that's a compliment. They're up there with like Rose McGowan and Scream, something like that. Well, we'll put to text our official rankings as well to post alongside this on the Patreon. But listeners, thank you for coming along on this journey with us. Halloween aficionados and enthusiasts, please direct any anger towards Julio, not myself.
Hey, going by Letterboxd, I think that our patrons are split. I think I have maybe 50% of them on my side, and the other 50% are on yours. I think, just from memory, you have Nerdovert. I'm assuming you have Ben. I don't know where Paul falls on this one, but I think I know I have Gerald, and if Dan ever watches it, I'm pretty sure Dan will hate it, so he'll be on my side as well.
I have discussed it with Ben. I'll refrain from giving away his thoughts until their episode drops, because I know he was keeping his cards close to the vest.
Yeah, I feel bad about like putting my Letterboxd out before we even release the episode. But I'm like, I need to do it now, because if I don't write it and put it there, I'm just not going to get to it, And I
had to
guess
rip the Band-Aid off. I wasn't going to do mine, and then I saw yours. It was like, oh, fuck it. He whipped it out. I'm going to do it too.
I think that in retrospect, maybe I would have waited if I'd known how this conversation was going to go. But like I said, I wasn't sure how much I was going to be able to bring to the table, so I needed to at least get started on Letterboxd so I could just build up from that.
All right, patrons. Well, again, thank y'all so much for joining us for this journey. Halloween has ended. For now. It'll be back in some iteration someday. But Julio, thank you for taking the time to talk about this. It was a good time.
Evil died tonight, Alex. That's all that matters. You
were waiting for it, and I'm glad you got it in.
All right. Thank you, patrons. We'll talk to you again soon.
That summer of